Oh, yiggity. And we are back, So we finna go over this Tupac trial because I need to see what's going on. Tupac is he's still alive to me in spirit, the old great Gemini. Um, if there's gonna be possibly getting him some justice, then I'm trying to see it. So I got the nice little snippets from Law and Crime, the most important ones I would say. But we're gonna start off with the Keffe D, and it says beaten prosecutors say the beating that led to Tupac's murder. So we're gonna go over that.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Michael Ingram, Michael Ingram.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Mr. Jackman, whenever you're ready.
Sir, how are you employed?
I work as an investigator for MGM Resorts.
What area at MGM Resorts do you have a certain job responsibility?
I have responsibility over surveillance and security surveillance and investigations.
Were you requested to come here to authenticate some video that was collected well back in 1996 from the MGM?
Yes, I was.
And have you had a chance to see any of that surveillance?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did MGM keep a copy as well?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so you reviewed that?
Yes.
Judge, I have in my hand Stage Proposed Exhibit number 115, which is that video I'd offer.
Any objection?
No objection.
Okay, that'll be admitted.
So I have three different camera views, three different files, I'll call it, that we're going to talk about. But back in 1996, can you describe the type of surveillance system we're looking at? Like, how is it, what medium was it originally recorded on?
At that time, it was recorded on VHS.
And did MGM reuse tapes every so often?
Yes.
And so when you reused tape, did you lose quality each time you kind of reused it over and over again?
Yes, the quality deteriorated.
So, unlike today, that's digital, some of these views that we're going to watch, it's going to be pretty hard to facially identify anybody. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I want to start with,
Hey, Potts.
I have this mark text in order.
I need to switch it over.
I know, I just remember if it's the top or the bottom. There's two blues.
And the reason why I like this one, y'all, because it got the
Yes,
videos and all of that from the actual scene of the crime and all of that.
All right. I'm going to show you the Stage Proposed Exhibit number 144. You recognize what that is?
Yes, that's the MGM Grand.
Is that currently the way the MGM Grand looks?
The general layout of the casino or the hotel, yes, it's the names have changed and stuff, but
Okay.
the property is the same.
So we don't know if this is from 1996 or if it's from 2002, 2010, when in the last 30 years, but generally the layout's been the same.
Correct.
I'll put this up, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Mayor, if I could,
Oh, I moved it at 144.
before we move to admit, can I just ask a couple more questions of this witness with regard to this particular?
You'd like to order on this issue? You may.
Sir, with regard to the photograph that's been marked as proposed State Exhibit 144, can you tell me if you can read the locations that are on that particular map?
I can read most of them. There's one that's a little fuzzy to me.
Sure. In terms of your review of the surveillance video from the MGM, fair to say that what we're about to see would indicate where the camera location was, including the name of the area that would correlate with what you have out there on the map?
As a general rule, yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have no further questions.
Any objection then to
No
the admission of it?
objection. No.
It'll be admitted. State, you may proceed.
There's two areas of this I want to talk to you about before you show the video. Maybe more than that. Generally speaking, events like the Tyson-Selden fight, where would that have occurred at?
The MGM Grand Garden which is located at the top of the screen.
Up here. Okay. We have an elevator view that we're going to see. Where is that located on this?
There's, in the middle of the screen, there's 3 small boxes. Those,
Right here?
yes, those are the elevator core for the MGM Grand.
And then if there's a camera that's going to say food court, that's kind of that's looking down a long hallway. Which hallway are we looking at?
The white box, yeah, you're going to be following that basically to the Grand Garden Arena.
So when you come out of this box, you can either come down here or across the casino, essentially.
Correct.
Man, people.
So now I'm going to start with.
Cold in Vegas
We can go
right
back.
now with their name.
I'll pause it here for just a second. This says food court promenade. So I'm just going to hold it up for the jury. Do you know anywhere where we are along this white corridor, or could it be anywhere on that white corridor?
Specifically, I couldn't tell you exactly where along that corridor you are, but you're along that corridor.
Okay.
Come on, get to the video. Yeah, there we go. That's what I want to see.
And I'm going to stop it. Oh, maybe a little further. This person right here, we're going to see in some of our other videos, wearing a Dan Marino Miami Dolphins jersey. You probably know that, but for ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's the person that we're trying to follow. Is that accurate? Or do you know?
I do not know.
Okay. Now we have another camera view of this long hallway. From this, can you tell generally where in that hallway it is, or once again, we're just somewhere on that white hallway?
Somewhere along that white hallway.
And he just flashed.
That,
So let me stop it here. On these VHS tapes, cameras would flash between different hallways.
that technology was in effect during that time frame.
Called multiplex back in those days.
Correct.
So sometimes we can jump from camera view, trying to capture what we're trying to capture.
Correct.
We can see the 13 on this jersey right here, with the gentleman walking behind him. Now I'm going to take you to 115B. I don't know why I did that. All right, we're going to use a different program so we don't watch it sideways. And I'll turn my volume off because there's no volume. Now this is that elevator core that we saw. Please switch over to me for just a second.
Over to you? You mean the dot cam?
Yeah. So as opposed to those other views that were somewhere in here, now we're down in the middle of these four, and there's a tree in the middle of these four.
Correct.
Is that tree still there?
No.
And unlike the other camera, this one is a movable camera that goes back and forth.
Correct.
Go back to you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We looking back in history though, like.
So this one starts at 2043 or so, and I'm going to jump forward to about 2047. This is just people walking through that elevator area, correct?
Correct.
Close enough. We'll start at 204633.
And I guess this is leading up to the jumping, the altercation that happened at the Grand that led to Pac's untimely demise. I got a couple more videos on the case too, but I think this one kicks it off. Man, this is different. Yeah, this is straight VHS, straight up. That's it. Oh, as hell. Get us a little crime music. Okay, hold on. Let me put the. They doing it. Come on, I want to. Oh, are they waiting for them to walk out or something, or just where it pop off at? It's gonna go forward a little bit. Geez, like, come on, do you gotta watch the whole damn surveillance?
Scanning the area.
Operated manually by camera. Stop it just here for a second to orient everybody. So the camera, is it being operated manually by a cameraman so he can stop it on something that he's looking at?
He can stop it at a location, but that movement that you saw was just the camera in rotation, just scanning the area.
But if it now stops and focuses on someone, there's someone in the control room that is able to stop and go, hey, something's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. We got action. Hold on, let's bring that
To
back.
orient everybody.
All right, so I'm about to crack off. Because I want to see it crack off. Uh-oh. Okay, boom.
Stop it just here for a second to
Okay.
orient everybody. So the camera, is it being operated manually by a cameraman so he can stop it on something that he's looking at?
He can stop it at a location, but that movement that you saw was just the camera in rotation, just scanning the area.
But if it now stops and focuses on someone, there's someone in the control room that is able to stop and go, hey, something's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
That's ain't that Pac with a couple kicks in the white? Was that him? What did Pac have on that night? Because they did the boop boops and then dipped out. They got the whole entourage, man. And then if you think about what happened, that was super swift, man. Like they was on his butt. Right after that, you talking about he got shot right after that? Yeah, this say September 7th, 96. Yeah, yeah, he was in the white joint with the hat on, right? He was the one that gave him the two little football kicks. Couple little kickity kicks. Yeah, the black Versace. Look, now they talking about the incident. Whoever got stumped out, which was Orlando Brown or whatever his name is, I think, or whatever his name was, or whatever his name, he got stumped out And they immediately, and if you think about it, that little beat up wasn't even really that bad though. Like it was just a little scuff up, little touch up. But you know,
The gentlemen in white shirts, are they security guards, and the gentlemen in tan shirts, Metro Police? Yes, sir.
yep, Orlando, yeah. And I don't think this one got as much as action as the next one. Hold on, let's jump to that jump real quick. Let me see if there's any more. I can kind of scan through and see if they got any more. Well, it's a lot of melee. I see that. Oh, okay, there you go.
Once again, it appears that the victim of the beating was wearing that 13 Merino shirt. Yes, sir.
You never know when a moment is going to change your life, though. I bet you he never thought after this little altercation anything was going to be what it was. Bet you that Orlando Anderson, yeah, thank you. I bet you he thought he was just going to go to the club and kick it and have like just a regular time. That goes to show you can't treat everybody like everything. Y'all remember what Carlito's Way was about? Remember Benny Blanco from the Bronx came back and gave it to him? He tried to poop on Benny Blanco. Remember me? Benny Blanco from the Bronx. Oh, okay. So there was okay before that. Then they went looking for him. Then they finally had got up with him. Seven. Yeah, I was 16 back then, boy. This was a big deal for us, man. Pac dying was a super duper big deal. That's when rap became like real scary. Like, like dang, man. Like they really out here dying for this. And it's funny, man. It seemed like once Pac died, man, then it was just like a slew of death after death after death after that.
Stuff is about 2055 or so.
Dang, cuz man,
In our
that's
final view,
final.
somewhat obvious. But I'm going to give you this when you watch the cameras. After we're done, I'm going to ask you generally where those people that we see leaving the area of the elevator.
I think they got, you know, where they like up into the casino and they walking out too. Here they go.
115C. So is that the main casino floor outside the elevators?
Correct.
Okay, so that wasn't Pac in the all white. That was the person in the all white right there giving them the hella kicks. So it wasn't. I don't know where Pac was, but I seen Cuz in the white giving them the football kicks.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, Tupac, man. That's just how them Geminis do. We're just very awesome people with very complicated lives. It seems like all of them. Look, they took they took the cameras off the off the tables and everything. They trying to get everything that's happening, who's walking where, who's doing what, and to show y'all how they be having the casinos on lock. Pac lead is like he leading a little charge. Look how they took cameras off of everything. They trying to see everything, every little move being made.
Doors that they appear to be exiting.
Damn, man, he left
Can
up
you
out
tell me where
that door, man.
leads out
He
to?
got into the car. Man,
The lion entrance?
nah.
Right.
Is that anywhere near the ballet?
That's I'm sorry, I was confused.
That's crazy.
Out to the hotel registration area and then out to the Porte Cochere.
Okay.
And do you know whether or not back in '96 there was a ballet there or not?
Yeah, no, I don't know if there was an exact valet or what it was called at the time.
Look how they moved the whole crowd with them, though. Like once they start moving, everybody started moving right after them. All right, hold on.
Thank you, sir. Judge, I passed away.
Hold on. There's another excerpt from the joint when they was talking about. Well, maybe I don't know if I should do the autopsies yet, because it was like the tension before. Okay, come on, let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Hold on. Let me get this volume correct. Volume's acting funny. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. The hell's going on with the volume, my friend?
After almost 30 years, the investigation itself may be the prosecution's biggest problem.
And we just suddenly heard a lot of gunfire,
Somewhere between 9 and 15 shots in a series.
something like that.
That suggests to you that the weapon was a Glock 40. That's correct.
Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, so we're continuing our coverage of the Dwayne Keffe D. Davis trial out in Las Vegas, the only person ever charged with the murder of Tupac Shakur, who we know was gunned down out in Las Vegas in 1996. Now, yesterday was the opening statements. It was day one of the trial. It was the beginning of witness testimony. The prosecution alleges that Davis orchestrated the killing of Tupac Shakur, that it was because Shakur and others allegedly beat up his nephew, Orlando Anderson, earlier in the night at the MGM Grand. They plan to use Davis's own alleged statements over the years in media interviews, a memoir, law enforcement interviews, statements that the prosecution claims Davis admitted to his involvement. Now, the defense argues those statements were exaggerations, that you can't believe what Davis said, that there is nothing to corroborate, that he was telling the truth about his alleged involvement in what happened with Tupac. With all that in mind, now we go to day two. So the prosecution began today by calling Dr. Lisa Gavin, forensic pathologist and medical examiner for Clark County. Now, she wasn't the original doctor who performed Tupac's autopsy. That doctor has since passed away, but she reviewed the records, the photographs, the medical reports from 1996, and she formed her own conclusions about what happened to Tupac Shakur. Notably, we learned that as she began to walk the jury through the autopsy photos, several members of Tupac's family got up and left the courtroom. Not surprising when you consider what's going on the screen. But Dr. Gavin continued that this is what she told the jury about how Tupac died.
After reviewing all of those records, do you have an opinion as to the cause of death of Mr. Shakur?
Yes.
And what is that?
He died of gunshot wounds of chest and abdomen.
And do you have an opinion as to the manner of death?
Yes.
And what is that?
Homicide.
When a medical examiner uses the word homicide, what does that mean?
The simplest form is death at the hands of another.
Now, to be clear, evidence like this doesn't necessarily directly implicate Davis, right? But prosecutors, they have to build a case from the ground up. They have to build it element by element. So at the very least, they have to establish that Tupac Shakur was in fact shot and killed, that he was murdered, that it was an intentional killing. That is what this evidence goes to. Now, Dr. Gavin then walked the jury through each wound, starting with the chest. The bullet had apparently entered near his armpit, traveled across his right lung, and lodged near his collarbone. The lung collapsed, filled with 2 liters of blood. Doctors removed the lung, trying to save him.
Damn.
And here's how she described it.
This is the right side of the body up by the chest area. You can see the right axilla or armpit in that region. And then you can see some of the sutures of what they call a thoracotomy incision, where they've cut into the side of the chest. Yeah. And then just below that, this is an entrance gunshot wound.
And then just below that thoracotomy chest, there appears to be a stitched up area. I can move my mouse too, right there. What is that?
That's a sutured chest tube site.
So he had a tube there to help drain some of what was going on in his body.
Correct. And in the previous one that had all the medical intervention, you could see from the left side there was a similar chest tube on that left side.
From your review, were you able to determine sort of the path of this particular bullet?
Yes.
And what was that?
It entered here in the right lateral aspect of the chest, just below the axilla, the armpit, and then went across the right chest space, went across the right lung, and then ended up coming to rest in what we call the sternal notch. The sternal notch is a location just between where your collarbones kind of meet up towards the center of your chest. So just beneath that, the projectile was recovered.
The nature of that type of wound, what did it physically do to him, his ability to breathe and those types of things?
So the injury to the lung would have collapsed the lung and also caused the lung to bleed. And so it was documented within the medical records that he had about 2 liters of blood in his chest cavity when they put in the chest tube to try to save him. And similarly, they ended up removing that lung to try to save him and kind of clamp off the bleeding. And then it already had multiple episodes of not becoming responsive. So he wasn't able to breathe. He was bleeding out in that area from that injury.
The second bullet that entered his right thigh and traveled up to his abdomen, that projectile was actually recovered. Take a listen.
This is the right lateral aspect of his body, so his right flank and his lateral aspect of his right thigh. And then his backside of his right hand is also within this picture.
The ruler, though, is identifying what?
The ruler is around the right lateral aspect of his thigh, so the right thigh on the lateral side.
And what is that?
And that's an entrance gunshot wound.
And can you tell me the path that bullet took?
Yes.
And go ahead.
That bullet entered in the lateral aspect of the right thigh and then went upwards into the abdomen and damaged his intestines. They ended up operating there and removed a portion of his intestines, and then during that surgery they recovered another projectile.
Dr. Gavin, as I said, she wasn't the original ME. That was Dr. Jordan, and he has since passed away. Okay, now we go to questioning by the defense. So on cross-examination, defense attorney Michael Sampt pressed her on this.
Hey, fam, it is hard to listen to. Like, I mean, this was like a long time ago, and I'm still screw-faced about hearing what happened to Pac, man. This is terrible, man.
She was relying on records that were decades old, photos that were taken with Polaroid cameras, a record she didn't keep herself. So to me, this is consistent with the defense's argument, which we heard in an opening statement yesterday, that this whole investigation was sloppy, that it was botched, that it was incomplete, that you're talking about a case almost 30 years old. So trying to raise reasonable doubt, trying to raise questions about the reliability of the prosecution's case, the investigative work. And if jurors are perhaps hesitant about one aspect of the prosecution's case or the investigation, perhaps they will not believe the whole case, the whole theory, the whole narrative. Maybe they'll question it. But the prosecution pushed back on redirect. Take a look.
Your testimony here today revolves really around your review of the record that was laid out 30 years ago.
Yes, that's correct.
And so fair to say, of course, that keeping records would be very important in your line of work.
Yes.
In the event that in the future, something that you do while you're on vacation somewhere in the Bahamas could be testified to by another doctor.
That's correct.
Now, with regards to the records that you saw here, Dr.
Jordan.
Was there anything missing in your review of those records in terms of record keeping or anything like that?
No, but we only took a few photos at the time of autopsy. At that time, they used Polaroids or they used film and cameras. And so we had few photos of the body itself. And so consequently, the crime scene analyst photos were helpful for being able to come to determination in addition to the reports.
Man, Mr. Sam suggested, I just want to make it clear, you're not regurgitating Dr. Jordan's opinions. You formulated your own opinions as the cause and manner of death.
That is correct.
So as I talked about this initial alleged altercation at the MGM, after this alleged beating at this hotel, police responded to the scene. But the man who was apparently attacked, Orlando Anderson, Keffe D's nephew, seemingly didn't want to cooperate. Sergeant Kenneth Rios was one of the officers who responded that night. Here's what he told the jury about his interaction with Anderson.
I asked him first if he needed medical assistance, and he refused. He said he was fine. I then asked him what happened, and he told me basically that a couple of guys that he didn't know jumped him. And once again, I asked him if he needed medical. He said no. I asked if he wanted to file a report, and he said no.
At that point, was he released and free to go on his way?
Yes, he was.
Later on that evening, did you learn about a shooting involving Tupac Shakur?
Yes, I did.
And then were you asked to then draft a report as to what your interaction was with Mr. Anderson?
Yes, I was.
And at that time, what name did you remember for Mr. Anderson?
It was Orlando. I remember his first name.
Would it be? Is it anything unusual that when a victim gets attacked and doesn't want to press charges or write a report, for you not to have written a report that night?
No, it's not. Basically, if you don't have a victim, you don't have a crime, as we put it, which isn't necessarily true. You always have a crime. But if you don't have a victim, the chances of prosecution, you won't get any information, and so we don't take a report if the victim refuses.
I would imagine the argument would be, from the prosecution, Anderson didn't want authorities to get involved, right? Because he and co. would want to take care of it themselves, that they would want to go after Tupac Shakur. I wonder if that's the significance of this. We'll see. Now let's go to cross-examination by the defense. The defense did press him on one thing, his report. Now, Rios admitted he didn't write it immediately after the fight and didn't know if anyone requested more surveillance video that night. So the defense's point again, does this prove a sloppy investigation?
And so the state had asked you a question specifically as to when you wrote the report. You wrote it after you got off of this particular shift. Is that when you wrote your report?
I don't recall when I wrote it, but I'm sure that my officer's report would reflect that time. But I know I didn't write it immediately after.
All right. And in terms of your knowledge that Tupac Shakur had just been shot, your testimony to the jury is that you had understood at that point that potentially a person by the name of Orlando may have been something to do with that particular case.
I don't recall if that was the reason why I wrote the report, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, because I'm a little curious. Like, how do you, there's a shooting of Tupac Shakur. Is it because you heard that there's a shooting up at Tupac Shakur, they go, wait a minute, there was an incident that occurred with Tupac on property. Is that how we get to this point?
Back then, I don't recall if that was the process that I went through to make the report. I don't believe so. I believe that there was some other officers that probably told me and suggested that I write a report because of his possible involvement.
Right. So news goes out throughout the valley, Tupac has been shot, and then you're advised, hey, there was something happening where Tupac just captured whatever it is that you remember, right?
I don't recall that happening that way, but for most intents purposes.
Right. Now, in terms of your report and you writing it, you're still on property when you hear that this incident had occurred with Tupac Shakur.
I don't recall where I was at the time.
Okay. Would you have ever called back to the MD and say, hey, capture more video of this particular incident and the guy with the Merino jersey, the night of the shooting, to help them with whatever investigation could be out there? Did you do that?
Not that I recall, no.
Do you know if anyone else among the 3 officers that were there or any other officers would have done something like that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Maybe they're all Bears fans and that's the reason why they didn't do that.
It could be.
Yep.
Now, the prosecution called the man who was working security at the Maxim Hotel that night. It was right at the corner of Flamingo and Koval. William Heidemeyer. He was on the 3rd floor of the parking garage when he apparently heard something that stopped him cold. Listen to this.
2 Metro officers with me, and we were looking for stolen vehicles. There were 5 or 6 Dodge Caravans that were stolen out of our parking garage that night.
And where were you located when something unusual did happen?
Well, I was on the ramp of the 3rd floor of the parking garage on the southeast side of the property.
And while you were there, describe what you hear.
Well, the 2 officers, another security officer and I were standing around one Dodge Caravan, and we just suddenly heard a lot of gunfire. And we ran to the barrier wall that was overlooking Koval Boulevard, not Koval, Flamingo Boulevard, and that's when I witnessed what I saw.
So you hear a bunch of shots. Do you have any idea how many you heard?
It sounded like a lot.
1 volley, 2 volleys?
3 volleys.
3 volleys.
Yes.
Heard. And when you say a lot, I mean, to some people, do you put any sort of number on it?
I had 3 to 4, maybe even 5 each volley. It was a series of pops.
Somewhere between 9 and 15 shots in a series.
Something like that.
He then testifies about the man he claims he saw holding a gun. And the defense tried to make an objection as to speculation. We'll see what happens.
I was armed, so I was leaning over the retaining wall to see what I could see.
And when you look over the wall, what do you see?
I see a line of vehicles in the left straight lane on Flamingo heading east. And there's several vehicles. There was a white Dodge Stratus at the front, a black BMW behind it, another dark car, and I believe another car, and then there was a white Chevy Suburban behind that, and several more cars.
Do you see anybody outside of those vehicles?
Yeah, there were a number of people standing outside the vehicles in the traffic lanes.
And do you see any of them armed?
One gentleman was armed, one black male adult, very young, well-dressed. He was wearing a very bright white 3/4 sleeve shirt, black pants, and a black dress vest.
And at the time that you see him, is he firing his weapon?
No, he's not, but he does have the weapon in his hand. It was an automatic weapon, automatic pistol.
Semi-automatic pistol?
Yes.
And is he holding it down? Is he pointing it in a direction?
It wasn't pointing in any direction. It was kind of just off to his side.
What do you see this caravan of cars do?
Well, I looked back because the Metro officers jumped in their cars to pursue, and then when I turned around, everyone was back in their cars again, and they made a U-turn heading west on Flamingo towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
All of the cars in the caravan?
Yes.
And so you see them make a U-turn at Koval and head back towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
Correct.
And those vehicles, you saw the 2 Metro officers you were with jump in their vehicle to give chase to that caravan.
Correct.
At the time that you're out there and you see somebody with a gun, you've just heard shots fired, is it the conclusion you originally drew that person was your suspect?
Yes, yeah, that's what I deduced at the time.
And based upon the officers following that caravan, that's a reasonable assumption that they deduced that as well.
Right. They asked me what direction they were going. They rolled down their windows and were asking me what direction everybody went, and so I pointed to make a right and head towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
And those officers then went after the caravan.
Objection as to speculation.
What's your response?
Well, you watched them do it.
Okay.
Did he testify? Did you watch
Place
the
more
officers?
foundation.
Did you watch the officers go after that caravan?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
On cross-examination, the defense pointed out that Heidmeyer didn't write a report that night, that he handed it off to someone else, and they highlighted that he didn't actually see the shooting happen or anyone firing a weapon. He only heard the gunfire and saw a man with a gun after the fact.
Now, you were investigating at that particular time stolen vehicles out of that garage. Did you write a report on your own with regards to what you were doing that night with the stolen vehicles? And
Actually, no. I turned that report over to my other co-officers at security because I was tied up with this incident.
Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit better for you here, sir, if I could. Going back again. That's hopefully more helpful. All right. So when you said that you looked over and you saw, can you explain for us again sort of where the vehicles were that you saw?
Well, the vehicles were on Flamingo heading east, and they were in, we have a left turn lane, 2 forward lanes, and a right turn lane, and the vehicles were in the farthest left center lane.
Farthest left center lane.
Correct.
Meaning that they were intending on going forward.
Correct.
They're not making that left.
No, but they ended up making a U-turn.
Sure. And once again, for our edification, this is 30 years ago, right? So you've got 3 lanes going directly east. And is that yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And then you have, is it 2 lanes that are actually turn lanes to turn onto Cole?
Actually, I believe it was 2 lanes, so it would be from the facing east, it would have been the 3rd lane that they were in. There's 2 turn lanes, 2 straight lanes, and then a right turn lane.
All right. And then with regards to the vehicles themselves, your testimony was that there was a white van of some sort, or maybe vehicle in front of the black BMW.
Yeah, it was a white Dodge Stratus.
I see. Is that a van? No, that's
So
a
it's a 2-door sedan.
Okay. And then behind it is the BMW.
Yes.
And then behind it are multiple cars leading back.
Yes.
And your testimony was that you had identified a Lexus. Is it a Lexus behind it?
I think it was a Lexus, I believe so.
And then another vehicle, and then a white Chevy, and then it just kept going all the way down.
Correct.
So even though we're identifying these vehicles, you don't know how many vehicles were in the procession or the.
It was several. I didn't count them at the time, but it was a good 10 vehicles.
Okay. And all those vehicles are now making a U-turn and heading back towards Las Vegas Boulevard.
Correct.
You don't see the actual shots being, someone actually pointing a gun at something and shooting something.
No, I did not.
You just heard it.
Yes.
The individual that you had identified as the person with a gun.
Yes.
Did you see that individual shooting his weapon?
No.
All right.
Now, another key moment that I should mention is when the prosecution called Michael Ingram, an investigator for MGM Resorts, to authenticate the surveillance footage from the night of this alleged beating. The video, which was captured on VHS tapes that were reused and degraded over time, showed or seemingly showed the confrontation between Tupac's entourage and Orlando Anderson in the elevator core of the MGM Grand. Personal note, I have been there so many times. I used to go to Vegas all the time. I used to stand by that elevator bank all the time. I know it very well. Now, Ingram walked the jury through that footage, showing Anderson allegedly being attacked and then seemingly fleeing through the casino floor towards the lion entrance. On cross-examination, the defense pressed Ingram on what he didn't know. He wasn't working at MGM in 1996. He didn't know if security reports were written. He couldn't verify the date and timestamps on the video beyond what was already recorded. The video itself was very grainy. No one could definitively identify anyone in it, but it seemingly established one very important thing, that this attack happened, and it happened on camera. But for the prosecution, they are hoping that in the minds of the jury, it established one very important thing, that a beating happened, and it happened on camera. And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't know about that, y'all. I don't know. I mean, it's seeming like was this just like a news story up for grabs? It really not sound like they like really trying to get to the bottom of it. I didn't know that Keffe D, his nephew was Orlando. I didn't know that. Okay, and then he didn't want to file a police report. He didn't want any medics. Of course not. That's a street dude. Okay, I get that. So, am I missing something? Orlando's dead or something? Did Orlando die? That must be the case. Orlando must be dead, and they just trying to get him. Right? Orlando's dead. Because I'm like, what? Why wouldn't he be on trial? Right? Ain't that the case? Somebody let me know. I ain't been on the trial in a while. But then they said, so I got something with Tupac's ex-security guard. I'm just kind of standing through because it looks just like a bunch of testimony without like no pictures and video and stuff. Well, yeah, they do have a little pictures and video. But I like to keep it moving. I want to stay jumping and stay live. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. Thank you. That's what I was thinking. I mean, I was just using basic reasoning, like, okay, if they're trying to get Keffe D, that must mean they can't get Orlando. But you know, not saying that it should die. The case is but if I heard correctly, they gotta rebuild and reconstruct the whole case out of information out of 20, 30 years ago. It just seems kind of dog and pony show to me, like it doesn't. I know it's Tupac's name and all, but maybe this one might not even have needed to be like televised or nothing like that. Maybe y'all just needed to get to who did what and why, because it just seems, you know what I mean? It's like, like it's a couple. Maybe there's a couple prosecutors and a couple old names that wanted to, you know, relive their heydays or something like that. Yeah, this one's a crazy. Look, I actually even had this one too. It says Tupac witness gets heated with suspect defense attorney. I was like, what is getting heated? You know how they try to use the words to try to make it seem like it's something. Yeah, let's check this one out. We'll check this.
Cross-examination, Mr. Sims.
Sir, have you ever met me?
Excuse me?
Have you ever met me before?
No.
Have you ever spoken to the district attorneys prior to your testimony here today?
Once.
And is that what you're referring to as the time that you told them, like, hey, any attorney here is better treat me as hostile because...
Yeah, I told him I didn't have nothing to do with this.
Now, a couple questions for you, sir. This is more for clarification. So on the night of the murder, you were working as the head of security for 662.
Yes.
Explain for us a little bit about the club. Was that Suge's club or was it somebody else's club?
Suge, to my understanding.
Okay. And when you were there as head of security, were you there, had you worked there as head of security prior to this particular night?
We did an event there once before. Yeah, same thing.
Okay. And on this particular night, was this an event like some type of fundraiser or something for police officers or anything like that? Do you recall what the event was for?
We wouldn't have been there.
Okay.
No.
What was the reason for the event?
It was Mike Tyson fight. Tyson was coming back. Tupac was supposed to perform like other people, and we was there for that.
Okay. Can you describe for us how big the club is so that we can...
30 years ago, a little bit bigger than this room.
So it's relatively, it's not like a two-story. It's not,
it's small. It's small.
Right. And in terms of the club itself, you were there and you were sharing with us that there were other people that were there.
Yes.
Law enforcement as well as I don't know, people from your side of town.
Oh, law enforcement was outside. The Metro was saying, why y'all put words in my mouth?
Sure.
They were outside.
Okay.
We were on the inside. Wasn't no law enforcement mingling with us.
So, as far as you know, law enforcement wasn't hired by Reggie Wright to provide additional security?
No, this was Metro posted up all over the place.
And so they were there specifically just to, like, what, harass or just send a warning or what?
No, they were there. Like when you have events in Las Vegas, everybody knows. You're going to see Metro here, every block.
Yeah.
They was posted up, which they do all the time.
But you're telling me that as head of security, you do not know or you don't believe that Reggie Wright hired the Metro officers to come
I know
in?
for a fact he didn't hire the Metro police.
Okay. Do you know how many people were on the payroll that night from your security team?
Well, y'all do paperwork different than we did. Our paperwork was getting cash money. Our paperwork was what they call under the table. We had at least 30, 40 of my homeboys there. Reggie Wright Jr. and his security, his company, the people work for him, didn't have nothing to do with what Suge paid us for working. So that was two different entities, Reggie and Suge. The homies was there for Suge Knight. Reggie Wright hired his company to watch over Suge Knight people.
Right.
So his security did like the right thing. My security did what they ain't gonna do. You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
The police gonna walk you out of there. Mm-hmm. We gonna drag you out of there. So it was a difference, but not on the same paper.
Sure. And once again, the intent was to protect 662, right? To protect the club, protect the patrons that were going to go there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in terms of your knowledge of what happened on that night, fair to say you weren't present when the shots had rung out.
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. And your testimony is that you had heard from other people initially that, hey, Tupac had been shot.
Yes.
And you had thought maybe other people were maybe relieved, thinking like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. He's gonna be okay.
That's what came back to 662. People that went to the scene, and everybody said Tupac was talking. So everybody came back to the club saying he's gonna be all right. So people just went back to, me.
Right. Now, in terms of the that night, you go back to Compton. You live in Compton.
Yes.
You still live in Compton?
No.
At the time you live in Compton, you go back to Compton, and you tell us that there was a lot of tension. Was there? Can you describe that for us when you went back in terms of what kind of tension we're talking about?
You sure you want me to answer that?
Is it going to be graphic?
No, I ain't gonna. I got to raise the word in it, but you asking me a question. I don't. And what I explained to them, I don't want to send him to prison.
Sure.
Even though we don't like each other.
Sure.
I don't want to send you to prison. So that's why I'm here where I'm at and the way I am, because I changed my life. I'm raising my grandkids, teaching them never to be like their papa. And here I am explaining to people what I used to be, and I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that at all. And you asking me questions that can hurt him. And like I told them, I'm trying to avoid to answer the questions that they might look at me and say something is wrong.
Well, let me put this way. Let me help you out with this.
Thank you.
So these people right here, what they want to know from you is
Okay.
did you see who shot Tupac?
I told you no.
Correct. So outside of that question, right? The next question I'm asking you is, when you went back to Compton, was it like a Southside Crip shoots a Pyro Blood, and then a Pyro Blood shoots a Southside Crip? Is that the tension that we're talking about?
Do I answer this?
That's a straightforward question. It's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
Did you see that?
When I was a part of that life, I was a part of that.
Once again.
And I was no, because you asking something that's gonna hurt this dude. And when okay, let me stop.
And once again, I want to emphasize.
When we got back to Compton,
Okay.
it was a gang war. People were getting hurt.
Okay.
People was being sought. People were looking for certain individuals from his neighborhood,
Okay.
as well they did mine.
Okay.
But Orlando, him, and certain other people were being sought because people wanted to kill them.
Sure. Were they the only ones that they wanted to kill?
I'm not the only one up in here. No, they weren't the only one.
Okay.
It's his neighborhood in particular.
Right.
But they were the main subjects of a gang war. It was in the middle, such
Sure.
as me.
So you're telling us that people back home somehow had some type of information that said that that guy, as a bunch of other people, were involved in what?
In the murder of Tupac.
Okay. But my question to you.
Stop.
Can you focus on me for a second, sir?
Yeah, I will.
I just want to make sure that we're clear. Okay, with these people. In terms of that information, none of those people were there, right?
What people you be speaking on? The people that was already in the neighborhood, or the people that left Las Vegas that same night Tupac was shot to go home, bare their arms, and go to somebody else's neighborhood
Right.
to look for somebody? They had to pay it back.
So once again, my question to you is that the information that I'm asking about is the people that back home, you're saying were eyewitnesses to this?
How could people back home be eyewitnesses to something that happened in Vegas? No, that's not what I'm saying.
The people that were here in Las listen to my question, sir. The people that were here in Las Vegas, you're telling me were eyewitnesses to what happened and went back home. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling you, the people that was at
Just
662.
answer my question, sir. Yes or no?
I can't
Is it
answer
a yes
that
or no?
without a what you call it. You trying to tell me to say something that you're not going to understand. If you let me explain to you,
No, answer my question.
I'm not answering nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Okay, Mr. McDonald, focus for a second.
I am focused. Very
Focus on this. My question to you is this. You didn't know what happened that night because you weren't there.
I was at 662.
Right. Do you know who was that was there?
I know everybody that was there.
Okay. Like who?
Talk to your lawyer, man. This dude is tripping. I'm not going to explain that. I can't answer that.
Okay. Let me ask you this next question then. You are telling us that people back in Compton, for some reason, knew what happened here in Las Vegas.
A phone conversation. People found out when people left Las Vegas the same night Tupac was shot, went straight back to Compton. It only takes 3.5 hours to get home.
Sure.
Yes, it wasn't a problem for people to find out what happened. No problem at all.
They got on their phones, they texted people, they let them know what happened here on the night of the shooting.
Yeah. They had walkie-talkies. They had all kind of phones. They had ways to call people to say whatever. But when people left Las Vegas that same night, after they found out and got in their cars and went home because it was a situation, Pac was shot. Retaliation is a mug. Come on, man. Like, it was for real, for real. All of this was for real.
Now, the night of the shooting, did you have a walkie-talkie, a Nextel thing or something like that?
No.
Did Reggie Wright?
I don't know what he had. I don't know how much money he had in his pocket. I don't know what he had on his hip.
But you were the head of securities, but you're telling us you did not have any type of device.
Right-way security has nothing to do with the gang-banging security, rouge, whatever you want to call it. They had nothing to do with us.
Okay.
The phones that Suge had for certain individuals, they had the phones. Like the guy that was bodyguard for Tupac that night. Like some of the guys that was at the Tyson fight, like Suge Knight. Certain individuals had phones. Yes, they did.
Okay, so, all right, I get what you're saying. You're not there, but you're saying other people were.
Yes, I'm saying there was a lot of people there.
A lot of people were there at the shooting that took place.
That was in the entourage, yes.
Let's see. Okay, just one final question. You're here today, and I think the state had asked this question under a subpoena. You're ordered to be here today, right?
Yes.
In terms of that subpoena, for instance, is that's the only reason why you're here is because of that subpoena?
I don't have no other reason to be here.
Yeah. In order for you to get that subpoena, you were served that subpoena back in California?
Yes.
By a police officer?
I don't know. He was in uniform.
Okay. And that order required you to go to a court in California?
I had to go to court in Victorville.
And then that court in California said you have to show up here.
And in that court, I cussed them out and told them, you can't make me do nothing.
Right.
And in that court, they told me that I would be in attempted court. Me raising my grandkids, I'm not going to put my grandkids in the car and move somewhere so y'all can't find me. So all that running and living a different life, I ain't doing it. So I agreed to come. And like I explained to everybody in here, you ask me something, I'm going to be honest about. You ask me something I don't want to talk about, you're going to have a problem. Treat me as a hostile witness. You're not going to talk to me and tell me as a grown man what I have to do up here. I'm not going to send him to prison. You are.
So the accusation now is because of the fact that we're trying to ask you questions, you're putting it on me.
You asking me questions. If I just answer your questions, we gonna have a problem in here, a misunderstanding. And you're asking me something that wouldn't be good with him.
Right. And once again, I just want to look. We're just trying to figure out who shot Tupac. You're telling us that you weren't there to see him. That's all I want to know. At the end of the day, that's it. Right?
Was I in the entourage when Tupac got shot? No.
Okay. Nothing else, right?
I was at 62. I mean, that ain't hard. That's easy math.
No further questions.
Anything further, State? All right, we've got one more phase, and then we'll let you out of here.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? Seeing no hands? Oh, we do have one. Okay, hang on one second.
Uh-oh, that's muted. Like we don't get to hear that or something? Oh, that's super weird. Maybe some personal information.
All right, I have a question for you from one of our jurors, if you can answer. Did Reggie Wright Jr. instruct security to not have firearms the night of the fight?
To be honest, I don't know if Reggie Wright told his people, all the police officers, not to have guns, and I don't know why. He sure didn't tell us because we had ours. And that's the honest truth.
All right. Any follow-up based on that, State?
No, Your Honor.
Defense.
I just want to clarify what the witnesses said. You're telling us that you had guns that night.
Yeah.
I just want to know. But you had guns that night. Right?
Yes, we did.
All right, thank you.
All right, State. I know you didn't want to be here, but thank you for coming out.
Okay, can I say something? I want to apologize to everybody, but I find this kind of funny. And truthfully, what you're going through, brother, is what you're going through. I didn't want to be a part of that, and I'm not a part of that. So I appreciate everything, and I apologize to all of you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McDonald. You are free to go.
That was deep right there, y'all. I got a little bit I got a little bit more of the case. This part was kind of sad. I don't know if I really wanted to play it, but they say Tupac survived 6 days after being shot. The doctor testifies. It's pretty heart-wrenching. I don't know. Let's see what she got to say.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Good morning. I'm Dr. Lisa Gavin, Lisagavin.
Thank you, Dr. Gavin. Mr. DiGiacomo, you may proceed.
Doctor, how are you employed?
I'm a forensic pathologist, medical examiner here in Clark County.
What does that mean you do for a living?
We determine the cause of death and the manner of death and sudden unexpected deaths.
And in order to hold the position that you do with the coroner's office, do you have certain education, training, and background?
Yes.
And explain that to ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
I went to medical school at the University of Connecticut School of Medicine. I did a pathology residency at Hartford Hospital in Connecticut. I did a surgical pathology fellowship at Hartford Hospital in Connecticut. I did a forensic pathology fellowship in the Office of the Medical Investigator in New Mexico, and then I came here to Clark County. I have a medical license to practice here in the state of Nevada, and I'm board certified in anatomic pathology and forensic pathology.
How long overall have you been a forensic pathologist?
This September it'll be about 17 years practicing here.
So I'm going to guess that 30 years ago you were not at the autopsy of Tupac Shakur.
No, I was in medical school.
Have you in the past had to come in and testify to your opinions as to cause and manner of death in cases where you weren't the actual examiner at the table?
Yes.
Explain why that would happen.
We have people that have retired. We have doctors that have died. We have doctors that have gone to other locations in the country.
So when you are asked to review, what is it that you get to review in order to form your opinions and conclusions?
Most often it would be the investigation report from our office. It would be the autopsy report from the forensic pathologist that did the case. It could be photographs associated with the case. Could be medical records associated with the case. Could be any consultations or the like associated with the case.
In this particular case, do you know who the examiner was?
Yes.
Who was it?
It was Dr. Jordan.
And Dr. Jordan is no longer with us, correct?
Correct. Dr. Jordan had passed away.
In addition to what the medical examiner's office had, did you also get a copy of the photographs taken by crime scene analysts during the course of the autopsy?
Yes.
And did you utilize those as well to render your opinions?
Yes.
I'm going to start with what's been previously admitted as State's Exhibit number 44. Now, as long as you don't click that mouse, there should be a nice little arrow that comes up and you can point to it. What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 44?
In the background is a green body bag, and the way that we sealed the body bag to preserve the body as evidence is we put this little blue tag through the eyelets of the zippers as they come together to demonstrate that the body was received, placed into that sealed body bag, and then received in the office with that seal intact at that time. Similarly, we also attached onto that area what will become the toe tag, the identifying marker for that particular body, that particular individual.
If I zoom in on that, we're able to see that the name was Lassane Crooks, aka Tupac Shakur, date of death 9/13/96 at approximately 1600 or 4 p.m.
That's correct.
Lassane Crooks. I don't think I ever knew that. Did y'all know Tupac's name was Lassane Crooks? I ain't know that.
45. What are we looking at, Doctor?
This is just opening up of the body bag, and then the
But wait a minute, though. I was today years old when I learned Tupac's name was Lassane Crooks. What's going on with my life? I did not know that.
one of the first photos that was taken at the time that the body bag was opened, demonstrating the decedent and the condition that he was received in and the body bag.
And from reviewing the medical records that were part of the coroner's office file, did it appear that Mr. Shakur had survived his wounds for some period of time?
Yes.
And a lot of what we see on these photographs are evidence of medical intervention.
Yeah. I ain't know that. I be knowing
4-6.
And I didn't know that about the Gemini guy.
This is a facial shot. I know there's a ruler in the way, but this is a facial shot of Mr. Shakur.
Oh, that's correct.
And then we're not going to display all of his tattoos, but there were photographs taken. This is 47 to identify his various tattoos.
Correct.
So you can see on his right stomach there that says thug. And then if we go to 48, on the other side it says life. Correct?
Correct.
So now I want to get to his injuries, and I'm going to start with, I'll start with 49. What are we looking at here?
This is the right side of the body up by the chest area. You can see the right axilla or armpit in that region.
Oh, no.
And then you could see some of the sutures of what they call a thoracotomy incision, where they've cut into the side of the chest. And then just below that, this is an entrance gunshot wound.
And then just below that thoracotomy chest, there appears to be a stitched up area. I can move my mouse too, right there. What is that?
That's a sutured chest tube site.
So he had a tube there to help drain some of what was going on in his body.
Correct. And in the previous one that had all the medical intervention, you could see from the left side there was a similar chest tube on that left side.
From your review, were you able to determine sort of the path of this particular bullet?
Yes.
And what was that?
It entered here in the right lateral aspect of the chest, just below the axilla, the armpit, and then went across the right chest space, went across the right lung, and then ended up coming to rest in what we call the sternal notch. The sternal notch is a location just between where your collarbones kind of meet up towards the center of your chest. So just beneath that, the projectile was recovered.
Oh. Man, her job, I don't know. I don't know about this, y'all. I like crime, but I don't want to hear about Swiss cheese Tupac. I'm cool on that. I got some more stories. Matter of fact, you know what I thought that was interesting that I want to bring to y'all? I wanted to bring to y'all 10 killers, 10 murderers who kept killing in prison. I thought this was pretty interesting. Like, let's get to some other kind of crime. Okay, here we go.
Murderers who kept killing in prison. Killers are sentenced to prison because they're considered too dangerous to remain free.
Right.
But for these inmates, being locked behind bars didn't stop the violence. Each of these prisoners was convicted of killing at least 2 people. While already incarcerated, Rigoberto Sanchez Velasco was already sitting on Florida's death row when he committed 2 more murders. Both victims were fellow death row inmates. Sanchez Velasco had already been sentenced to death for murder, yet even inside one of the most secure areas of the prison system, his violence continued. Anthony Delgado was serving 25 years to life at California State Prison Corcoran. While incarcerated, Delgado killed 2 fellow prisoners in separate incidents. His victims were Frank Mendoza and James Mahoney. Delgado was eventually convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. Leo Boatman was already serving 2 consecutive life sentences without parole for a double murder when he killed again. In 2010, Boatman killed fellow prisoner Ricky Morris at Charlotte Correctional Institution in Florida. 9 years later, he was involved in the killing of another inmate, William Chapman, at Florida State Prison. Boatman was convicted of first-degree murder in the Chapman case and sentenced to death. Robert Vickers was already serving a...
Oh, hold up. So is that what they do? If you a killer who kill, you gotta go? Like, did the death penalty? Because you don't really hear about the death penalty. And it ain't like they said, I don't know if they sitting on death row, but it sounded like they got them right out the box. Like, oh no, homeboy, you gotta go. Like, oh boy, you gotta go. It's over for you. You done did it again? Oh, you out of here.
lengthy prison sentence in Arizona when he committed 2 separate murders behind bars. His victims were fellow inmates, Frank Ponce and Wilmar Holsinger. The killings occurred years apart, proving that imprisonment had done little to stop Vickers from committing further violence. He was ultimately sentenced to death. British prisoner Robert Maudsley already had a violent history before arriving at Wakefield Prison. In 1978, Maudsley killed 2 fellow inmates, Salney Darwood and William Roberts. He was convicted of both murders and would eventually become one of Britain's most heavily isolated prisoners. His case remains one of the most notorious examples of repeated murder inside a British prison. Denver Simmons and Jacob Phillip were both already serving life without parole when they committed 4 more murders inside South Carolina's Kirkland Correctional Institution. In April 2017, 4 fellow prisoners were killed during an attack involving the 2 inmates. Simmons and Phillip later pleaded guilty to 4 counts of murder, and each received 4 additional life sentences. Both men had already been imprisoned for earlier murders. Christopher Scarver was serving life in Wisconsin when he became responsible for one of the most infamous double killings in American prison history. In November 1994, Scarver killed fellow inmates Jeffrey Dahmer and Jesse Anderson at Columbia Correctional Institution. Scarver later pleaded guilty to both murders and received 2 additional life sentences. Clayton Fountain became one of the most feared inmates.
Hey, hold on, we can get a clap on that one. He took Jeffrey Dahmer out. That's kind of like, he talking about the most notorious. Okay, it is the most notorious because he killed Jeffrey. But go ahead, my guy. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Let me hear that one more time.
Murders. Christopher Scarver was serving life in Wisconsin when he...
Christopher Scarver. You know that Jeffrey Dahmer ate a nigga, a nigga booty. He ate a whole bunch of black people, man. Jeffrey Dahmer ate a whole bunch of black people, man. Good for this brother. Thank you, brother.
He became responsible for one of the most infamous double killings in American prison history. In November 1994, Scarver killed fellow inmates Jeffrey Dahmer and Jesse Anderson at Columbia Correctional Institution. Scarver later pleaded guilty to both murders and received 2 additional life sentences. Clayton Fountain became one of the most feared inmates in the...
Hold on, but that's what I'm saying, though. If you already got life, it's like, man, let me go ahead and take care of this little work real quick. You know what I'm saying? For the team one time. That's how you crash out, baby. That's a real crash out right there. That's the crash out of all crash outs. Salute to that brother. That's a crash out. That's how you crash out. If you gonna go, man, thank you for your service, man. That's all I'm saying. That's a living legend right there. That's the best crash out I ever seen. I ain't never laid eyes on a better crash out than that. You better believe it, buddy. You heard it here first. Keep podcast. Let's go.
Clayton Fountain became one of the most feared inmates in the federal prison system. While incarcerated at USP Marion in Illinois, Fountain was responsible for 4 killings. 3 of his victims were fellow prisoners: Charles Stewart, Robert Chappelle, and Raymond Smith. His 4th victim was Correctional Officer Robert Hoffman. Fountain received additional life sentences for crimes committed while he was already behind bars. Thomas Silverstein was another prisoner whose name became closely associated with violence at USP Marion. Silverstein was convicted of killing fellow inmates Robert Chappelle and Raymond Smith. He later killed correctional officer Merle Klutz. Those 3 murders resulted in 3 consecutive life sentences. Silverstein eventually spent decades under extremely restrictive confinement and became one of the most notorious federal prisoners in American history. Robert Gleason was already serving life without parole for murder when he warned that he would kill again. In 2009, Gleason killed fellow prisoner Harvey Watson at Wallens Ridge State Prison in Virginia. The following year, after being transferred to Red Onion State Prison, he killed another inmate, Aaron Cooper. Gleason admitted responsibility for both killings and was sentenced to death. His case stands out because even after receiving a life sentence for murder, Gleason continued taking lives from inside prison.
Woo! Y'all like the top 10 joints? Y'all like the top 10 joints? I like the top 10 joints because I got a couple more of them, or I got a whole crime case. I got a couple more of the top 10s that I thought were really nice. I like the top 10 joints. Do you enjoy the top 10 joints or what? You know, this the people show. Come on, y'all gotta let me know. Everybody watching, it's like 400-500 of y'all across these channels, man. What y'all talking about? Cause I got one that's really good. If y'all like the top 10s, I got one that's really good. Oh yeah, you like that, huh? Okay, all right, that's what I'm talking about. Well, listen, I got top 10 killers, teen killers. Come on, let's do this top 10 teen killers. Y'all want to check that out? Because I wanted to check it out. You know, we're gonna scour the crime together, fam. Let's get to it. Let's see what it is.
10 teen killers with more than one victim.
Ooh.
Most teenagers are focused on school, friends, and planning their futures.
Yep.
But the young offenders on this list were convicted of taking multiple lives before they reached adulthood. Some killed several victims during a single incident. Others committed separate murders over days, months, or even years. School shooters have been excluded from this countdown. Here are 10 teen killers with more than one victim. Number 10, Rod Farrell. In November 1996, 16-year-old Rod Farrell traveled from Kentucky to Florida with a group of teenagers sometimes called the Vampire Clan. Farrell and another teenager entered the home of Richard and Ruth Wendorf, the parents of one of the girls traveling with them. Both Richard and Ruth were killed. Farrell pleaded guilty to 2 counts of felony murder.
Damn.
He was initially sentenced to death, becoming one of the youngest prisoners on Florida's death row. His sentence was later reduced to life imprisonment. Number 9, Rachel Pittman. Rachel Pittman was 16 when Amanda Doss and 2 children, 11-year-old Guinevere Doss and 8-year-old Texas Johnson, were killed near Redwater, Texas, in May 2011. Investigators determined that all 3 victims had died before the house was deliberately set on fire. Pittman was prosecuted as an adult. In January 2013, she accepted a plea agreement and received 2 life sentences, with the possibility of parole after serving 30 years. Number 8, Alec Kreider. In May 2007, 16-year-old Alec Kreider entered the Pennsylvania home of his friend Kevin Haynes. Kevin and his parents, Thomas and Lisa Haynes, were killed. Kreider was not immediately identified as the attacker and even attended the family's memorial service. About a month later, Kreider confessed to his father, who contacted authorities. Kreider pleaded guilty to 3 counts of first-degree murder and received 3 consecutive life sentences. Number 7, Conrad Schaefer. Conrad Schaefer was 15 when he became responsible for 2 killings during a 2013 crime spree in Central Florida. The first victim was 17-year-old David Guerrero, who was killed at a bus stop. Weeks later, 22-year-old Eric Rupnerine was killed during a home invasion. Schaefer eventually pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder. In 2016, he was sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of a parole hearing after 25 years. Number 6, Christine Paulila. Christine Paulila was 17 when 4 people were killed inside a home in Clear Lake City, Texas, in July 2003. The victims were Tiffany Roll, Rachel Colarutis, Marcus Priscilla, and Adelbert Sanchez. Paulilla had previously been friends with 2 of them. The case remained unsolved for 3 years before investigators received information connecting Paulilla and her former boyfriend to the crime. In 2008, Paulilla was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. Number 5. Michael Swanson. On November 15, 2010, 17-year-old Michael Swanson traveled through northern Iowa and robbed 2 convenience stores. During the separate robberies, store clerks Sheila Myers and Vicki Bowman Hall were killed. Swanson was convicted in one case and pleaded guilty in the other. He received 2 life sentences for the murders. His name later returned to the headlines when he received an additional 25-year sentence for attacking another prisoner. Number 4. Harvey Miguel Robinson. Harvey Miguel Robinson was 17 when he began a series of crimes in Allentown, Pennsylvania, during the early 1990s. Robinson was convicted of killing 3 people: Joan Berghardt, Charlotte Schmoyer, and Jessica Fortney. The murders occurred during separate incidents between 1992 and 1993. He was also convicted in connection with attacks on survivors. Robinson became one of the youngest serial murderers in the United States to receive a death sentence, although years of appeals and resentencing followed. Number 3. Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper's first murders occurred long before he became known as the co-ed killer.
Oh.
In 1964, when Kemper was 15, he killed both of his grandparents at their California home. He was committed to a state psychiatric hospital, but was eventually released. As an adult, Kemper killed 8 more people before surrendering to police in 1973. He was convicted of 8 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to multiple life terms. His case remains one of the most disturbing examples of a juvenile killer being released and later committing additional murders. Number 2.
Wait a minute. He a juvenile? That man looked like he was divorced twice, got a heart stent, a 401k, and trying not to lose his pension. What are you talking about? Teen killer. What? 60-17? What you talking about? that ain't nowhere near teen. Man, they always say people back in the day used to look older, but that boy ain't never been teen nothing. That boy went from 12 to 47. Straight there. Oh my God. Okay, all right, I'm just tripping.
Disturbing examples of a juvenile killer being released and later committing additional murders. Number 2. Sean Sellers. Sean Sellers was 16 when he committed 3 murders in Oklahoma. In September 1985, convenience store clerk Robert Paul Bauer was killed. Several months later, Sellers killed his mother, Vonda Sellers, and his stepfather, Lee Bellafato. Sellers was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. He was executed by lethal injection on February 4th, 1999. His execution attracted international attention because he had been only 16 at the time of the crimes. In 2005, the United States Supreme Court prohibited executions for crimes committed by anyone younger than 18. Number 1. Craig Price. Craig Price was only 13 when he committed his first known murder in Warwick, Rhode Island. 2 years later, at age 15, Price killed another woman and her 2 daughters inside their home. His arrest connected him to all 4 murders. Because Price was prosecuted through the juvenile system, authorities initially faced the possibility that he could be released at age 21. The case caused widespread public outrage and helped drive demands for tougher treatment of juvenile offenders accused of serious crimes. Price's violent conduct while incarcerated resulted in additional convictions and ensured that he remained behind bars long after his original juvenile sentence ended.
Oh yeah, sure. Change the rules for the black kid, why don't you? Yeah, that ain't lost on me. I'm right. That would make sense. All right. Do y'all like them, or y'all want to watch a true crime story? Do y'all want to watch a true crime story? Or y'all like the top 10s? Because I'm kind of the feeling the top 10s. I got this one about serial killers. Y'all want to watch crime story, or y'all want to do some more top 10s? What y'all want? What's up, Cayenne the Pepper Lady? Where's you going down? All right, come on, let we go. I got this one right here. Secret camera catches the truth behind wife's unaliving. Let's get on to this one. I got one for you. Let's go.
This is the moment that changes everything in a person's life. Their nearest and dearest, the love of their life, fighting for breath on the floor.
Please help me.
Get on her head, get on her head, get on her head. How long? Did you find her here?
I don't know.
Did you find her here?
No, she started passing out.
This is Deborah DePinto. She was found unresponsive in the laundry room of a trailer park office in Boulder, Colorado in June 2018. Her husband, Scott Jones, was taken into the other room by the first responders. He was panicking.
She's my everything. Oh, I understand. I can't live without her. Well, I don't know how to make it without her.
44-year-old Deborah was in a serious condition. She was taken to the nearest hospital, but there she was pronounced dead, and she hadn't died of natural causes. No, this nightmare scenario wasn't just a horrible accident. Here, on the Decoder, there are no accidents. Instead, the investigation following Deborah's death would unearth arguments, threats, and a secret recording, with two young kids caught in the middle of it all. Kids who just lost their beloved mom.
Get away from me!
We had a homicide in Boulder last night. He killed her.
Featuring exclusive body cam footage, this is the tragic story of Deborah DePinto.
Man.
It was June 18th, 2018 in Boulder, Colorado. In the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, it's a vibrant city with a lower violent crime rate than average across the U.S. Picturesque and full of culture, some people view it as the ideal place to raise a family. Maybe Deborah and her family had once thought so, but their life in Boulder was about to take a horrible turn.
What do you know right now? That she fell in there and so much went to her neck. Yeah, he was. What to her neck? He said that she didn't like this to her neck, like when she fell. She fell in the laundry room, and then he started doing CPR on her.
This is what Scott Jones told the officers responding to his 911 call. He said that Deborah had fallen by accident in the laundry room of the office at the mobile home park, where the family had temporarily been staying in a cramped travel trailer. And initially, any story, including this story, could have been the case. In the chaos of first response, the emergency service's first priority is stabilizing a patient in critical condition. They didn't need to know how she got on the ground, only what they could do to save her.
She's my whole life. She's my whole life.
She needs you to be. She can hear you right now, okay? So she needs you to be strong for her, all right? So take a deep breath, okay? The best people that can possibly be working on her, okay? Does she take any opiates or heroin? You don't know? Is there a possibility? Has she ever used them?
She smokes that damn pipe where they heat up the end and they stick it in that stuff.
The paramedics needed to know if Deborah was a drug user, so they could revive her if this was a possible overdose. Scott, who'd been with his wife for 20 years, said he didn't know. He implied that she smoked some sort of illicit substance, but he didn't know what it was. Maybe this was understandable, in the high stress of the situation, his wife being resuscitated in the other room. But it didn't help. Deborah was transported to the hospital. There she was declared dead. Out of the reach of medical help, it was now the police's turn to do something for her, to determine why and how she died. The couple had 2 children, a daughter Mary and a son. The son was only 10. Both kids had been there in the trailer park on June 18th, and so the cops faced the harrowing task of interviewing the newly motherless children. First, they talked to Mary.
What was going on today?
They were just kind of like arguing all of this.
What were they arguing about?
I don't remember.
Okay, do they normally argue?
Mary painted a troubling picture of her parents' marriage. It was already bad enough to have argued with your spouse on the last day of their life, but what if it was related to her death?
So they're arguing outside, but do you know what it was about? Was it real serious or just like a normal argument?
Kind of sounded serious.
And though this couple argued frequently, this was worse than usual. The police needed to know more about how this argument had started, and what the family's day had looked like before it all went so horribly wrong.
Okay, can you walk me through today, like how you got to this point and then we got called? So where did you wake up today at?
I woke up at my house.
Okay.
And we drove down here.
This gentleman that was just staying here, you all live at that house?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he dropped us off here and then went to work.
Okay, and so she went to work?
And then after a few hours, she came back here.
Which was about what time?
I think around maybe 4 or 5.
4 to 5 p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay. And then?
Then they were arguing and I went to the car.
Deborah was a chef in food services at the University of Colorado Boulder. A dedicated mom with mouths to feed, she worked a lot, while Scott tended to take care of the kids. She'd left them alone with him while she went out to her shift, not suspecting that she'd never go out to work ever again. She got back in the late afternoon, and that's when she started to fight with Scott. The couple met in 1998 at a New Year's Eve party. Born in 1973, Deborah had just turned 25 when she met Scott, who was 28. They were from opposite ends of the country. Scott was from Dade County, Florida, and had moved to Colorado via North Carolina. Meanwhile, Deborah went to high school in California, but they hit it off right away. They shared a love for horses and the Colorado landscape, and they soon settled down together. Deborah was dedicated to her work as a chef, and she held multiple jobs over their time together, finally settling at the University of Colorado in 2008. Scott, however, had a far more patchy record of employment. His primary role in their family was to look after the kids. They'd recently moved into the trailer park from a place in the mountains, but the move was only temporary, and they'd left their dogs and their horses behind. Maybe this was a benign change of scenery, or maybe it was a clue to deeper troubles threatening their long-standing relationship. There seemed to have been strife between the two for several years. In 2014, Deborah shared a post on Facebook saying, "Relationship status, it's complicated," with the caption, "You ain't kidding." While perhaps this was only a fun meme, it seemed to suggest trouble to come. So the police also talked to the couple's previous neighbors back up in the mountains. They didn't have much good to say about Scott.
He was a stay-at-home.
Would they have kids?
They had 2 kids, and he was kind of a pain in the neck. He had nothing to do but come down and kind of bother us all the time. But she was a very hard-working, good girl who got taken advantage of a lot. I guess she, like I said, she really put out to him and his expectations of the relationship.
Which were very strange.
She worked 2 jobs while he didn't work any in.
Deborah was definitely the breadwinner. Had this led to tensions in their relationship? Was this what they'd been arguing that fateful day when she came back from her long, tiring shift? The neighbors pointed the police to someone who might be able to shed more light on their dynamic. One of Scott's old friends from high school, a man named Gardner. Sometimes they worked manual jobs together, but these never lasted long.
On and off, he'd work with me. But, he always tends to lose his job because he runs his mouth about things that are going on in his head.
Gardner implied that Scott was a man who lacked impulse control. If he was mad about something, you'd hear about it, and maybe not just hear about it. Was Scott the sort of man to do something violent about it too? The question became most pressing when Gardner talked about the couple's relationship and how they'd apparently been on the brink of splitting up for a long while.
Last time I talked to him was probably 2 weeks, maybe about 2 weeks before the incident.
So that surprised you? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, actually it did.
Yeah.
He was talking about how that was all over and done with, and he's going to move on.
Oh, they had separated?
Yeah.
And that was done?
He was actually living in a trailer.
At the start of June, according to Gardner, Scott and Deborah had been separated. This was the reason behind the move into the trailer, that Scott was moving out from living with Deborah. But on June 18th, the family had all been in the trailer park together. Had they reconciled, or were they about to reach breaking point? Gardner didn't know.
So last he said to you about their relationship was they were done, split up, and it was over?
Yeah, and he was...
Never said anything about it. I'm going to kill that tree, nothing like that? Or...
No.
Okay.
Gardner said that Scott had never vocalized any threats to Deborah's life, but this wasn't strictly true. A year earlier, Scott had been talking to one friend when that friend asked him what he'd do if Deborah left him. Clearly, they were having marital troubles even then, and Scott said it wouldn't happen, that he wouldn't let it happen. But what measures would he go to prevent it? He told another friend if she tried to leave him, then I'll whack her over the head and put her in the ground. And only a week before her death, he told someone else that he had friends that owed him favors and could have her taken out. These threats were escalating and becoming more realistic. At the heart of it were Scott's possessive tendencies. Once, when they were separated that same year, she had a casual boyfriend over. When Scott arrived at the house, she told the boyfriend to hide in the armoire. Imagine you were trying to disentangle yourself from a possessive, controlling husband and he came to your house to find you with another man. You'd probably do the same. But the incident suggested that she was afraid of him. This, despite the fact that Scott had their 10-year-old son with him at the time. It seemed she didn't think it mattered whether there was a child present. If Scott was going to hurt her, he'd do it anyway. He knew she was seeing another man. He sent her barrages of text messages, often threatening. In one, he wrote, "God isn't happy with you committing adultery against me." Another said, "If you keep offending me, I will rebuke you just as the Lord will." And, most ominously, a text from Scott that read, "Ain't no cop or restraining order gonna stop what's coming. I don't care what happens to me at all. I am a man with nothing left to lose except my life. Nothing left to lose." He had 2 kids, but they didn't seem to matter to him if he couldn't keep a hold of his wife as well. All signs pointed to a vicious escalation, and Deborah walked right into the path of his jealous rage when she came back from work on June 18th. Their son witnessed the aftermath. Scott ran to him and shouted at him that Deborah wasn't going to make it.
He came in like screaming, and he was saying that he thought he was dead. So he brought me into the room, and she was just purple and cold.
Imagine bringing your 10-year-old son into the room where his mom lies dying, or already dead. What kind of father would do that? He was panicking, yes, but there was something more to it, and this would be revealed by something Scott hadn't taken into account when he started the argument with Deborah that day. A string of recent neighborhood thefts had left the owner of the trailer park to fit it with a surveillance system. This included a hidden camera in the trailer park office itself. Whatever had gone down between Scott and Deborah had been caught on camera, and his lies would be revealed.
I thought there was some contest with you. I thought you knew that you were going to be in there.
In this secret footage, Scott and Deborah can be seen coming into the trailer park office, clearly in the middle of a heated argument.
He doesn't know. I didn't know. That's why I told him.
They disappear into the laundry room out of view of the camera, but not out of earshot. Deborah was tired from work, tired of fighting with her husband, and just wanted to get her laundry done so she could get out of there. But this wasn't an ordinary argument like all the others.
What are you doing over there? I'm getting one to get out of here, contest. We're fighting for an hour or nothing. Leave. I'm done. We are never going to be together.
You're so cruel. Not only got cruel and mean.
You're in my way.
Weird.
You're in my way. Not whatever. Get away from me.
Get away from me.
They had been together for 20 years. Scott had spent at least some of that time trying to control her. And when she told him to get away from her, something snapped. He couldn't leave her in the laundry room.
Don't touch me, Scott. You can't force me to love you anymore. Get out of the door. I'm trapped. Get away from me. You make me feel terrible. Get away from the door.
This awful sound was the sound Deborah made when Scott laid his hands on her, when he started to strangle her. Her life partner, the father of her children, attacked her. In a horrible betrayal, it was an attempt at exercising control over her for the final time. Then it was over, and Deborah lay unresponsive on the floor, and Scott realized what he'd done. He spent the next 47 minutes in the laundry room with her, not calling for help, even though the fog of rage must have lifted. No, instead he was planning how he could cover up what he'd done. The plan he settled on? Using his 10-year-old son as a cover story. He went to the boy and told him something had happened to his mom. In this surveillance footage, they can be seen going back into the office together. Perhaps in Scott's twisted imagination, he thought this would exonerate him. Why would he show his son, his murder victim, if he'd killed her? But he had.
I'm gone, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey, what up?
Oh my God.
This is Derek.
With Deborah declared dead, the hospital had to work out her cause of death. In an autopsy, the forensic pathologist determined she'd died of homicidal asphyxiation, but the police already suspected foul play. The day of her death, the kids were taken by Child Protective Services, and Scott was brought to the sheriff's department. During his interview, he maintained what he told the first responders, that Deborah had suffered some sort of medical issue.
I don't know, dude. Like, she went like this. She started going like that and stuff.
And even though their kids had witnessed them arguing, he maintained that their relationship was going to be okay.
Any discussions about your relationship, how things are going?
No. I love my wife and she loves me, man. I have no idea how that went down like that today, dude.
Okay.
When she fell, yeah, she was face down, she fell. So I'm tired. I want to get my kids home. And I've answered a lot of questions. I've been very cooperative.
Scott still believed that he was going to get away with it, but the officers knew that Deborah's death was suspicious, and that Scott had been the only person in that room with her. They dug deeper.
Did something happen in that room that...
No way, man. No way.
I mean, I know accidents happen. If you're arguing, did something happen that went too far? Did she have a heart attack and die?
No, man.
Scott was still denying it. It was later that night that the police department would receive the evidence they needed to confirm what he'd done. The manager of the trailer park rang the police with the secret surveillance footage, and Scott's guilt seemed assured.
I hear him arguing for about 15 minutes, and then right at 7 o'clock, you hear like some screaming, and it just sounds like something bad is happening to her.
Okay.
And then he does not come out of the back 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when he does, he's saying, oh my God, and he's kind of pacing. And I just got chills up in my spine. I couldn't watch it.
They showed this footage to Scott.
That doesn't prove anything, you know that.
It shows us that something happened in that room. What's going on during that time?
No, man.
But Scott, you do know. This entire time you're still there with her. What are you doing? Are you looking at her? Are you trying to figure out what to do next?
Scott knew they were close to nailing him for the murder. In this interview footage, he can be seen getting increasingly worked up as he knows he's edging closer to being caught. So he asked for his lawyer. But a lawyer isn't a miracle worker. The police had him dead to rights, and the lawyer must have known that, because a few hours later, Scott confessed. And worse, he tried to justify what he'd done.
I don't know. You think I'm not getting out myself? You don't think I feel bad?
Well, I know you are.
Nah, man, it was good enough. I'm taking kids. You can take my kids? Threatening me, with me, man. I mean, with me. She couldn't stop being a monster. She couldn't stop being cruel, man. You don't know what she's done to me. You don't know the cruelty she's done, man. I believe it makes a man temporarily insane for a minute, man, when you think about it. You know that? You don't know the troubles. You don't know the pain. You don't know what I've endured. You don't know what that woman put me through. You don't know what she did to my son. You don't know.
According to outside witnesses, it was Scott who made Deborah's life a living hell. But according to Scott, it was the opposite. He made Deborah out to be a cruel person who'd driven him to murder.
But I didn't think anything through. I didn't think about anything. I just reacted. I don't know what happened. I just reacted. I don't know, man. It's nuts.
Scott was charged with murder, and he seemed to accept what he'd done. Perhaps it felt good to get it off his chest. He seemed concerned about his kids, most of all, despite what he'd said to Deborah in a text a few weeks earlier that he had nothing to lose.
This is the heat of passion. You know, it's, and good people do bad things sometimes.
I want to see my kids again, man.
Well, that I'm not sure.
Think I'll lose them? I don't want to lose them forever.
But he'd killed their mom. There could be no getting them back. When he was being driven away from the police department, he expressed his regrets.
That was me.
That was you. Well,
Care of them. I was the stay-home. All she did was abuse all of us. For many years. I just couldn't take it anymore. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. I never been ready for this to happen. It was an accident. I didn't believe her anymore. She lies, 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 lies. Never stopped lying. So I wish I could take it back.
But was this regret genuine? A few months later, he made a phone call from prison. These phone calls are recorded, though inmates often forget this fact. Over the phone, he said, "She made it all go down," most likely referring to Deborah. He also wrote a letter to a son he had from a previous relationship, writing, "Now she is in hell. I bet she's a believer now. Oh well, too late. Something tells me Debbie doesn't think I'm a punk, explicative, anymore." The letter ended, "I bet she's sorry for being a lying, cheating, deceitful A. Now I bet she knows I was a good man. Now, too late now." This painted a very different picture to his regrets expressed to the officers in the squad car. No, instead he was almost gleeful about what he'd done. His trial took place in December 2019. The defense presented no witnesses, but it still took 10 hours for the jury to come to a verdict. All but one jury members were convinced of his guilt, with one holdout. But the conflict was only between first and second-degree murder. The difference between the two verdicts was whether Scott had planned to kill Deborah or done it on the spur of the moment. The threatening texts and statements to his friends implied the former, though his interviews made it seem that he'd killed her on impulse. And ultimately, the jury were convinced of the latter. They found Scott Jones guilty of second-degree murder, as well as one count of child abuse for bringing his young son into the room to see his dying mom. He was sentenced to 48 years in prison, the maximum sentence allowed for the charge of second-degree murder. He was also sentenced for 1 year on the count of child abuse, and a motion was granted preventing him from having any contact with his and Deborah's kids to protect their mental and emotional well-being. The children are now being raised by Deborah's family out of state, while Scott remains in prison. What do you think about this?
It's March 19th, 2023. Just before 10 o'clock p.m., a series of 911 calls flood in from the usually quiet Cayo Grande apartment complex in Navarre, Florida.
Mute, but I'm back.
Gunshots just rang out, and multiple witnesses provide harrowing accounts of a terrifying scene.
Hello. I just got off the phone with a family member that said that they just saw someone get shot at the apartment we live in, Cayo Grande.
Sheriff's deputies rushed to the scene. Every moment counts, but neither of the callers provided a specific location in the sprawling complex. But when the first responders finally managed to find the victim, they discover something heart-wrenching that the callers didn't mention.
hey, who's over here? He's in front of 406. Hey, who's in here? Is there anyone in here?
No, Daddy.
Okay. It's okay. Come here. Come here. It's okay. I got him. Come here, baby. Come here. Hang on, come here.
While the victim's sobbing child is hurried away from her father's prone form, other officers rush inside the residence. The shooter is nowhere to be seen and could be hiding anywhere inside the apartment. But it takes only moments to realize that the residence is now empty. Whoever did this has moved on, and the officers have no idea if they mean to strike again. The victim's wallet identifies him as 24-year-old Colby Vinson. There is no doubt that he is deceased. He's been shot once between the eyes at close range and has no pulse. Chillingly, this looks like an execution.
There's like fresh groceries right here? Yep. I guarantee that's exactly what it was. Yeah. I think it was robbery. If we got some walking away, do you want to house them outside the track? We can. How do you want to bet that's his car? He's got Toyota keys right next to him, sir. Looks like he was going inside the house. Somebody walked up, looking at the blood soak on his hoodie. It's all, it looks like somebody just shot him in the back of the head. I bet you most of his brains are in the back of that hoodie.
Right now, the officers have frightfully little information. They don't know if the suspect's still in the area, or if he will strike again. And despite the clear bullet hole in Colby's face, the officers can't find a shell casing anywhere on the scene, nor do they have any sort of suspect. What they do have is a witness. Horrifically, the little girl who was found cowering in the entryway likely saw everything. But she's already traumatized, and they're terrified that pushing the little girl too hard could cause irrevocable damage. But with more lives potentially on the line here, they have no choice but to try.
I know, honey, I know. What's your name? What's your name? How old are you?
But no matter how hard the officers try, they can't get anything more from the little girl. For a moment, they fear that the case is already stalled. until another witness comes forward.
All right, we got a witness right here. Come upstairs with me.
I saw the first one.
Okay. You called? Okay, come up here with me. We don't know right now they're working on me.
I was walking, the police, that I was walking down halfway when I heard the shot. I didn't know what was that. So I stopped right there and I was like, what was that? And when I started walking and going down the stairs, when I saw the man on the floor with blood, and I saw a guy walking to the fire needle. He was walking right there. And the neighbors were there just getting him.
Yep, on the motorcycles?
Yes. And I'm pretty sure that when he was walking, he said that was dead, and
they saw him or they did it?
They saw the face of the man who shot the guy.
199.68.
I was going downstairs when I heard the shot, and I saw the man over there, but the guy was walking that way, and the two guys were over there. They were just, I guess they were just getting here.
No, you're good. You relax. Just relax.
Yes, then, yeah.
Hey, 235, detain him.
With the scene in chaos, it seems that the officer misunderstood. The man downstairs isn't a suspect, but another witness. But before he can correct his mistake, his colleague is already launching into action.
Okay, did you hear anything or see anything like that?
We just heard, we were both outside. He's not listening. We just heard a gunshot. Somewhere over there.
Talk to me.
He said that he told us to go inside because he said that he heard something. He said he saw somebody drop. I don't know.
I'll grab for translation. Listen, if it's not you, it's not you. Here, that's him for his witness. Hold on, man. Sorry. Let you go. Check your cuffs off. I'm gonna take them off. That's somebody up there said it was you.
Okay.
Here, bro.
Despite the misunderstanding, the two additional witnesses are eager to tell the police exactly what they saw.
What you see, man?
All right, so I stood up on my bike. There was a guy heard a gunshot. He walked back. He told us to go back upstairs.
The person that shot him?
No. So some dude came up and told us that somebody shot.
Okay.
On the hat. He was holding a paper bag, but I don't know if it was a shooter or not. Okay. He just told us to go back upstairs. He said that he saw a body drop. But,
okay.
So that's about it. He was wearing like that.
He's wearing a secretary hat, like the sheriff's on his backpack.
Okay.
He's wearing a jacket. I don't know if it's like a zip up or what, but it was like
Yeah, no, like an older worker.
He's in his like 46.
Frustratingly, the apartment complex doesn't appear to have any working security cameras. The police can't even find a Ring doorbell camera to pull footage from, despite walking down every hallway that might have recorded the suspect's path. All they have to go on is the partial physical description and the direction that the man was heading. But what really worries them is how calm the witnesses say the potential shooter was as he walked away. That sounds eerily like the behavior of an experienced killer.
It was hard to like squirrel out, seeing a bunch of sirens coming, and
Dude, nobody went westbound.
He probably focused somewhere else and walked kind of nonchalant. He just has to smoke it and less attention happens all the better.
Personal.
Because it looked like he was.
And it's someone who doesn't really care.
Well,
poor girl.
He put freaking groceries. It was like he already put a load in.
And that door's open, right?
Yeah, that's just
shit, man.
So
they caught him off guard. He had no idea.
That door.
The officers have already started to form a theory about what kind of personal conflict could have led to Colby's death. When they search Colby's home, they find a stash of marijuana and associated paraphernalia in his closet, along with a large amount of cash. They have to wonder if this could have been a drug deal gone wrong. But they can't shake the feeling that there's something more complicated going on. Meanwhile, one final witness comes forward with one more tidbit of information. Hours earlier, she had arrived home at the same time as Colby. He had the young girl found on scene with him, along with an adult woman, just over 5 feet tall with dark hair. And they were arguing. Now everyone's first thought is that this could be the child's mother. They need to find her now more than ever. Her daughter needs her. And the police want to know what that argument was about. One of the officers caring for the little girl decides to get inventive and checks Facebook.
Rachel Moore, you have a child in common. Why can't they see that? Because nobody's fucking looking.
Moments later, as officers search Colby's car, they find a stack of court custody paperwork that confirms the mother's identity as 25-year-old Rachel Moore. They immediately start organizing a group to go find the child's mother. But before anyone can even get in their cars, someone that they never could have expected arrives on scene.
This is my best friend. Her kid's upstairs. I just want to make sure that she's okay.
This is 47-year-old Christy Moore. She identifies herself as the grandmother of Colby's daughter, and finally reveals the little girl's name as Presley. But despite Christy's clear confusion and distress, the police can't help but wonder why she's here. Law enforcement didn't call her, but someone must have, and the police want to know why.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're Preston's mom?
Presley.
Presley, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not Presley's mom. I'm Rachel's mom. I'm Presley's grandmother.
Presley's grandmother. Okay.
What did he do? Can you tell me?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out here. What's your name, ma'am?
Christy Moore. Is Colby okay?
Colby is not okay. Colby is deceased. So that's why this is imperative to try to figure out as much information about what's been going on with him lately. It's our experience. These don't happen at random. Okay? What's been going on with Colby lately? What has he been involved with? Who's he been talking to? Anything?
Oh my God, to be honest with you, I haven't spoken to him almost a year because we have been in a custody battle with him because he wanted her, but his lifestyle was not something that we really wanted. With Presley, the court case, I don't know what happened there. It's all got screwed up. And
what's going on with court?
They gave him 50-50 custody after not seeing her for an entire year. This is the first time he saw her in a freaking year. Custody, he was only getting her for like 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday anyway, so whatever.
When did that change?
About a year ago.
The 50-50 custody?
Oh, that happened today.
Oh, that happened
today. We went to court last Monday, and he got her for the first time today. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Didn't want her to come. Something in my gut told me not to let her go, but it's court ordered. To be a court order, you can't break court order. You have to go to jail. That's what we're told.
Christy explains that the custody exchange happened mere hours earlier, at 6:30 p.m. Rachel and Christy met with Colby in the parking lot of a local grocery store. According to Christy, it all went off without a hitch. But now that Colby is dead, the police can't help but find the timing suspicious. They'll dissect every aspect of the custody agreement in the days to come, but for right now, there's an even more pressing question.
How did you get notified to come up here?
Dustin and Shelby Henderson live up in 430 or 431, something like that. And they called their mom.
Okay.
And that's my best friend. Kim is my best friend. And Kim calls me because that's just what we do. She calls me. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna come get you. Put your shoes on. I'm gonna run over to the reserves and check on the kids." Okay.
In regards to custody, is there anybody that would want to harm Colby in regards to that?
No, none of us liked the idea, but none of us have actually heard him. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Meanwhile, additional officers have finally been dispatched to find Rachel. She and her fiancé, Chris, live with Christy nearby. Once Christy texts them to answer the door, they come out to speak with police, who are braced to tell the couple the terrible news.
So, your daughter is fine. I cannot tell you a whole lot due to being an active criminal investigation. Colby has passed away.
Where's Presley?
She's safe. She's with her. I assume by now she's already with your mom. She's perfectly safe. She's perfectly safe. Nothing has happened to her. But Colby has passed away. I can't tell you that.
Was she with him?
Did she see him? I don't know all the details. Do you know of anybody that would want to hurt him?
I'd push him out of my life as far as possible.
Sure. Did you ever go over there? Did your mom ever go over to the apartment? Would you guys even have any reason to go to the apartment?
The officers are skeptical, considering the witness saying that she saw the woman potentially matching Rachel's description with Colby earlier that evening. But she insists that the exchange took place at the grocery store, and she never went to the apartment. For now, they leave Rachel and Chris to grapple with the shock, promising that Presley will soon be released into her grandmother's custody so she can come home. Back on scene, though, the night is far from over. A team of bloodhounds has just arrived, and immediately picks up a scent in the pine straw where the witnesses saw the suspect.
Right here behind the handicap sign was last spot.
The dog leads a team of officers through the parking lot, across a field, and into a neighborhood. But just a few streets later, the dog abruptly loses the scent. They conclude that the suspect likely got into a vehicle and drove away, just like one of the initial officers suspected. But frustratingly, when they start knocking on doors, all of the footage that they find is far too dark to show anything. Once again, at a dead end, the police are forced to call it a night. They will reconvene bright and early the next morning. They are convinced that this was a personal attack and no accident, so they need to understand the nuances of Colby's day-to-day life. Detective Kelly steps up to take the lead on the case, and with the help of Captain Jones, who was one of the first ranking officers on scene, prepares to sit down with the people who knew Colby best. They start with Rachel, still shaken from the night before, but willing to talk.
So, how long were you and Colby together before you separated?
Probably 4.5, 5 years maybe. But my child was about 14 months old when we separated. She's 4 now, and we haven't had much contact since then.
How long did Colby not see Presley?
About 10-ish months.
Now, while it's true that the police found marijuana in Colby's apartment, they did not see evidence of the degree of drug use that Rachel suggests. But that's not all that she accuses him of. She also claims that Colby was selling drugs, which would explain all the cash in his house. And she's not the only one making accusations either. They also speak with Rachel's mother, Christy, who had shown up on scene the previous night. She claims that Colby had done something far worse.
Do you know if you ever got physical with Rachel?
Not that I'm aware of, no. They very rarely argue. I mean, it's just, we're not people that yell. I mean,
Did you make physical with the baby?
I did not personally see it. Rachel, when they were living over at Chipley, I think I said it right.
Back with Rachel, she tells Detective Kelly that catching Colby shaking Presley was the last straw. She ended her relationship with Colby and said he never showed any interest in his daughter again until she filed for child support.
14 days later, he turned around and sent me 50-50 papers, child custody papers. And I was like, I'm panicking because you haven't wanted anything to do with her for this long. And then My side of the case wasn't even allowed to be seen in the court. And then they told me 50-50 sharing. And I said, okay. And then I showed up. I dropped my kid off.
Do you know if you ever got physical with Rachel?
Not that I'm aware of, no. They very rarely argue. I mean, it's just, we're not people to yell. I mean.
Did you get physical with the baby?
I did not personally see it. Rachel, when they were living over at Chipley, I think I said it right. She went back to work at the laundromat, came in, and he was shaking her.
Because Rachel was so upset, Christy was the one to physically hand Presley off to Colby. Despite the family's reluctance, they say that the trade went off without a hitch. Beyond frustrated to find that those cameras don't work either. However, the cameras in the business next door, Navarre Liquors, do work. The police requisition this footage and start pouring through it, unaware that they will soon find something that will turn this entire case upside down. Now, at the same time, Detective Kelly continues to work with the family.
What do I do? What do I do for her if this is something that has happened and she saw everything? This is exactly why I didn't want her to go back, y'all. It literally made me sick to think about this is what I forced my kid to have. This is not the man that I procreated with. This is what he turned into.
As the interviews wrap up, Christy shares one final detail that appears to confirm everyone's worst fear.
When you were taking her home, did she say anything?
On the way home, and I couldn't get my phone out, she asked me for my cup. I gave her my cup, and then she says, Daddy's sleeping on the porch. She was buying medicine.
Everything that Christy and Rachel are saying appears to confirm the early on-scene theory that Colby's death was somehow connected to a drug deal gone wrong. But Detective Kelly has a gut feeling that he's only just skimming the surface of what really happened. He's only gotten one side of the story so far, and with no physical evidence to back up her version of events, she could be leaving things out. What Detective Kelly needs is another perspective. While Colby can tragically no longer speak for himself, he sits down with Colby's mother, Megan, and his stepfather, Brad, who were also at the custody exchange. But he's unprepared for just how different their version of events is.
He got excited, and he got out of the car and he's looking around, and he finally spots them. They were on the far east side of the parking lot, across the parking lot.
So then we went back to his apartment, and he opened the door and he let her in, and he showed her her room. She was playing with her toys, and he was sitting there playing with her. And then my husband and I, about like 7:15, we went and got the car seat out of our car. And me and Colby got it in his car. We were in the backseat laughing because it was very hard to get in. So we were getting tickled, and then we told him we were going to go because we wanted him to be able to spend time alone with Presley.
As soon as Megan mentions that she was at Colby's apartment, two pieces click together for Detective Kelly. With her dark hair, Megan fits the description of the woman who was seen with Colby earlier that night much better than Rachel. When he asks her about a potential argument, though, she says there wasn't one. However, their voices were raised in excitement as they first brought Presley home. But they didn't stay long. Megan and Brad headed out to let Presley get settled in. Just after 9, Megan says that she got a text from Colby saying how happy he was. Less than an hour later, he was dead. And she could only think of one reason why.
Can you think of anybody that would want to harm Colby in this manner? And why is that?
Because she didn't win. She was confident that she was going to keep Presley from him.
And that wasn't all. Brad reveals that Colby isn't the only one with a criminal history. Rachel faced a drug charge just like Colby. And that's not all. Sure enough, when Detective Kelly pulls up Rachel's history, he can see the traffic stop with Colby on her record. And that's not all that she left out. When she was 17, she had also been implicated in an arson case.
There's obviously concerns that he may have been dealing drugs on the side. Did you have any inclination of anything like that?
If I would have had concerns of that, I wouldn't have helped him hire a lawyer to get his daughter back. He gets paid tips, and so he gets the cash from work, the tip bucket or whatever.
Colby managed a nearby legal marijuana dispensary and had a medical marijuana card. But the police couldn't believe that the stacks of $100 bills in his closet came from some tip jar.
Do you know what the breaking point was where she stopped Colby from seeing Presley?
When he tried to get Presley to sit him out when he was over in Chalmar. That was the breaking point. She just totally cut him off. And she never gave him a reason. And I said, that's fine, because we needed to address this the legal way. So that's when we got him a lawyer.
That's completely different from what Rachel told Detective Kelly. Someone has to be lying. When Megan and Brad give permission for the police to go through Colby's phone, the police are astounded. In the past 10 months, Colby has sent countless messages to Rachel asking to see Presley. But despite his extended pleas and huge effort to spend time with Presley, Rachel insisted, quote, "You never see her. You never make time to f***ing see her, and you're sitting here acting like it's my fault." Shockingly, it now seems that nearly everything that Rachel said about Colby is a lie. More convinced than ever that the custody battle is entwined with this murder, Detective Kelly calls in Captain Jones for reinforcements and brings Rachel into an interrogation room to do some explaining.
Tell me about Monday. Tell me about court.
It absolutely sucked. I went in, and since it got moved up a couple days, my side of the case and everything didn't get turned in time. So it really looked like I just said, no, I don't want you to see our kid anymore. Bye. And then turned around 10 months later and said no again.
However, Detective Kelly can't help but notice that Rachel's fiancé, Chris, matches the rough description of the man leaving the scene of the shooting. It's possible that twisted logic made him think that killing Colby was the only way to spare Rachel further emotional anguish. Rather than coming at Rachel with his suspicion directly and putting her on the defensive, he brings the idea up to Christy first.
What about Chris? You think if Chris could have communicated with someone to get some help in this regard?
I just don't.
Because that's kind of the direction.
We wanted him to go away. We didn't want him to die. I mean, not go away, but leave Presley alone. But not this way. I don't know anybody.
Did you share Colby's new living location with anybody?
Not other than Kevin. Justin.
However, Colby's new address was on the custody paperwork for court. Rachel would have been given at least one copy, and she lived with Christy and Chris, meaning they both would have had access to that information. With suspicion piling up, Captain Jones steps out to confront Chris directly.
So, obviously, we've been doing this a long time. We worked a lot of homicide investigations. At the point of contention that we just can't move past, right, is the coincidence that the day that he gets custody of the little girl, he shot and killed outside of his apartment.
See, and we just found out he was shot.
Right. For the first time in a year, he hasn't seen the girl, and the night that he gets her, he gets murdered. And I'm not insinuating that Rachel puts one up to this, right? But is it possible that somebody was so upset that they would have done this on Rachel's behalf?
No, not that I know.
However, Captain Jones already knows that who Presley calls Dad has been a point of contention in the past. Colby's ex-girlfriend, Natalie, previously shared something that proved more than anything just how little Rachel wanted Colby to be part of his daughter's life.
And then right before we stopped seeing her, she started calling Colby. And the girl that Rachel, or the guy that Rachel was with.
You're talking about Presley calling Colby.
And she was calling the other man Dad. Rachel was telling her to say that. And I'd be like, that's Daddy. She's like, no, that's not Daddy. Talking about Colby, the other man's Dad. But whenever he told me he got custody of her, I in the back of my mind was really scared for him because I knew how much she wanted to be in control over the whole situation. I don't know why, but I just felt like something was going to happen to him, but I tried not to think about that.
At this point, there's no denying that Rachel hated Colby. But Kelly and Jones still struggle to believe that she would have had him harmed while Presley was right there. They think that someone must have acted on her behalf without her prior knowledge. They just need her to stop protecting whoever she thinks it is.
Okay, obviously this has been a long-standing court battle, and it did not go in your favor. So the very day that he gets to meet up and take his daughter, who he hasn't seen in
almost a year. Yeah.
He turns up deceased.
Right. You can see why I'm panicking.
Okay.
I know how this looks for me.
I know. Okay, but I want to point them out, so I want you to understand this. Okay. We show up on scene very quickly after the fact the call's made, and at that time we learned certain information from your mother, who said she showed up not knowing that anything had happened, but that she was told that there were lots of police at the apartment building.
She's nosy.
Oh, it's odd that information did not get pushed to you.
Rachel doesn't know it yet, but the team reviewing the security footage from the liquor store near the custody exchange has just sent a message to Detective Kelly that leaves him certain that Rachel is still lying. Rachel seems more worried about her phone than catching Colby's killer, which immediately raises a red flag. They'll see why soon enough. They also collect the phones belonging to Chris and Christy. By the time the phones have been scoured for evidence, one person will be cleared, but the other two will be facing consequences that they never, ever imagined. After the phone search, Rachel and Christy are brought into an interrogation room together. In the moments before the investigators arrive, Christy and Rachel don't appear to realize that the cameras are already recording, capturing every secret that they whisper.
You say your mom what's going on?
No, I figured I could tell us all at the same time. Okay. This is something I just sit down. Yeah, you might. Okay.
Would you let me grab your trash can?
I probably wouldn't do that. I guess we know this is probably just for shots. I called Booger on Monday and told him about the court date with Jason Curtis. And I was panicking then. And he told me not to worry about it. It wouldn't be something he got to worry about. And I messaged him, told him everything that was going on. And he had sent me pictures of knives and guns and some Renaissance shit, but I didn't think anything of it because he lived far away and he was just sweet. And so I told him, I told him thanks for making me feel better.
Booger is what Rachel calls her ex-stepfather, 53-year-old Jason Curtis. He lives about 5 hours away in Alabama. Christy says that she hasn't had contact with him since their divorce over a decade ago. But when they searched Rachel's phone, they found that she had been talking to him a lot recently. And the content of their messages sends a chill down investigators' spines. Rachel attempted to delete messages, but the forensic techs were able to recover them from the recently deleted folder. What was inside would leave Detective Kelly reassessing Rachel's entire role in the case. Just days before Colby's murder, Jason had sent her a photo of an array of weapons, including swords, knives, and even a gun, telling her to, quote, take her pick. Her response was simply, quote, whatever is easy to carry. And that was only the beginning. Phone records show that Rachel and Jason had multiple conversations throughout the week leading up to Colby's murder. With this revelation, Captain Jones can't help but recall a brief moment on scene that was more accurate than anyone had considered at the time.
Mommy did it?
Presley was actually screaming for Christy, who she calls Nunu. But the brief suspicion case on the child's mother was now more fitting than anyone could have anticipated. In the interrogation room right now, the implications of what her daughter might have done hit Christy like a ton of bricks.
Ma'am, you okay? You need some water or something?
No.
Ma'am, you need some water or something?
I don't need right now. Fucking so with it's just gonna snatch her apart.
The only way to get ahead of this is to be honest up front, right? If we have to come back later and say, well, what's this text message about, then that's not going to look good, right?
You're probably gonna come back later a lot. I didn't think he would. I told him I would pay for his gas. I think this looks awful for me.
Did you actually?
No.
She didn't pay directly, at least. Cash App records show that Rachel sent Christy $100 on the night of the murder. Then, Christy used that money to make an anonymous transfer through a Walmart money order. But the police can't yet say if Christy knew that she was helping cover up a murder. Chris is still in the other room waiting for updates on the case. Again, Captain Jones steps out to speak with him. But this time, he's not pulling any punches.
Grace went around, was in there, saying everything that happened. We know exactly what's going on, we know who's doing what. You need to be honest with us right now and tell us everything that you need to know.
I'm being honest with you.
I don't think you are.
I'm telling you.
You're not involved in it, but if you knew about it, and you don't tell us about it, that's putting a lot of heat on you.
Right.
And it's not fair that she just threw your ass under the bus. I'm trying to help you out here. Right. Are you a lifeline? What do you know? What has happened here?
I do know that there might have been some text messages exchanged between them. Do not know what the context of them text messages was, because I did not get through her phone. All I know is that she was ranting to him.
What was she ranting about? What was she saying? I'm trying to get to
about how the court system says what.
Chris is completely unflappable. Either he's a much better liar than Rachel, or he truly has nothing to hide. Now, in stark comparison to his calm demeanor, Christy can no longer bear to be a part of Rachel's interrogation.
I feel like I'm gonna pass out this year. You do you. If you can leave, I just really feel like I need to get outside because I'm not okay right here. Okay.
Detective Kelly wastes no time getting in touch with the sheriff's department in Coleman, Alabama, where Jason lives. They immediately set up surveillance around the house that Jason shares with his girlfriend, Angela Fawcett. But they don't storm in. Confronting Jason, who they suspect is very dangerous, is a great way to get locked into a standoff or even a hostage situation. When Angela leaves the next morning, it's finally time. They wait for Jason to get into his truck and drive a short distance down the road before conducting a felony stop.
What we're going to do is we're going to have one of the guys, maybe one of us, maybe Deputy Bay here for us. We'll transport them to the sheriff's office to the Colorado. But that's where we'll take it to. Like I said, you driving stuff. Probably most likely like 90% coming to the sheriff's office. Good, really be there.
Jason isn't very talkative on scene, but when they look in his car, they know that they have the right man. There's a revolver under one of the front seats, matching the suspected caliber of the weapon that was used to shoot Colby. It's a 6-shooter, but hauntingly, it's only loaded with 5. A spent 38mm shell casing is loose on the vehicle floor. And this is only the beginning of what the police will learn about Jason. He's held at the county jail until Detective Kelly and his partner, Detective Marino, can make the lengthy drive up from Navarre to interrogate him. They have a decent amount of evidence stacked up against him thanks to the phone records. However, this could be argued as circumstantial. More investigation, like ballistics testing on the gun from his car, is underway. But Detective Kelly fears that with the right lawyer, Jason could probably argue his way out of consequences. A confession, though, would make their case rock solid.
What's going on, Jason?
You okay?
Well, we're about to. Okay, so I'm Detective Marino, this is Detective Kelly, that's Sergeant County from Sanders County, Queen Sheriff's Officer over there. I know you're kind of confused as to what's going on, and I'm going to explain that to you.
They read Jason his Miranda rights, and he remains willing to speak with them without a lawyer present. For now.
So the reason we're here is there was a warrant put out for your arrest, right, for the murder of Colby Vincent. Right? Does that name even sound familiar to you?
No.
Okay. Right, so this incident, obviously, I mean, you've been given some details, happened on Sunday, this past Sunday. Can you tell us where you were at all day?
Yeah, I was home. What's to do?
Okay. Was anybody home with you?
My wife.
Okay. Can she verify that? So she would have no problems if we...
Little does Jason know, his girlfriend, who he refers to as his wife, is in the interrogation room right next door. As soon as she left this morning, they pulled her over just like Jason. And her story doesn't match Jason's at all.
I thought that we were just going to the beach. That's all we did. We just went to the beach. It was a place he used to live.
Whose idea was it to go to the beach?
What?
Whose idea was it to take a trip to the beach on Sunday?
Well, I'm always talking about wanting to go and wanting us to take a trip together. I don't know how it came up. And it was just kind of like a spur of the moment thing, like, hey, let's just drive.
The beach town Angela says that they went to was none other than Navarre, Florida. As soon as the police reveal that they've talked to Angela, Jason's story changes.
Yeah, I heard it. So she said she had pictures of...
What kind of information did Rachel share with you?
All she said was she had the court ruled in his favor and they wouldn't even look at the pictures of where the baby had been abused and burnt. And she said that he was selling drugs out of that apartment.
So Rachel is positive the system.
The security camera at Navarre Liquor recorded Jason in the store, and a receipt timestamped just after 6 p.m. was found in his car. So not only had he been in the area where the murder was committed, he had actually been at the exchange. And that's only the beginning of what has the police convinced that Jason is the killer they're looking for.
That's how much you're going to take care of it? So did you really take care of it?
Something I didn't do. I can't help what's going on with her. I would help her, yes, but go down there and commit murder, no. I mean, I know Rachel was having trouble with something about custody, but I ain't had nothing to do with that family in 10, 15 years.
What do you know about the custody stuff?
All I know is that Rachel didn't want him to have the baby, and I don't know what happened.
They're just arguing over the baby?
Yeah.
You need to prove your truth.
That's not the truth.
The decision to arrest Rachel came just moments after she came clean about her messages to Jason. Detective Kelly himself had been the one to break the news.
Rachel, we talked to our state attorney. He's got based on all the information. He's advised we're going to place you under arrest right now, okay?
Okay, what am I being arrested for?
Right now, we're going to charge you.
Where you know you're being arrested for? Shut up.
Accessory after the fact charges. Okay.
Accessory to murder.
What am I being arrested for?
Don't do this.
Sometimes the truth sets you free.
Captain Jones goes out to start the booking process, leaving Detective Kelly to supervise Rachel. The questioning's done,
Terry, thanks for the,
but she's not
Cheryl,
done talking.
Thanks for the jewels too. I don't know if you heard me. I was in the chat.
It's not on a liar too.
Finally, she's escorted out of the station to be transported to the local jail.
Have you ever been to jail before?
Not the county jail.
Okay. Yeah, it's not as bad as you see on movies and stuff. You'd be alright. Especially if it's Yeah, they already searched. Did they already search? Yeah, it's not like on movies. It'll be alright. If you're in a scam, you'd be like, eh. But our jail's not too bad.
I'm not worried about jail being bad. I'm worried about my child and not being arrested for something that I didn't do.
Yeah, I don't know. So, look, I don't know what your case is about. I'm literally just going to work.
Oh, I know. I understand. My baby daddy got shot, and I am going to jail. Even though I have no gun residue on me, I was at home. I have nothing to do with this. Huh?
What's your charges?
I don't know. Accessory to homicide or something like that? Like, I'm dead ass being arrested for something I did not do.
However, Rachel's is only the first arrest. Before the case is officially closed, 3 more people will find themselves behind bars for their involvement.
You think if it happened that I would just went home and got this far and looked at wood yesterday?
Yes.
I just wanted
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
That'd be stupid.
Yes, I do believe that.
That'd be stupid.
Why? People do that all the time. Lots of people commit murder and then could just go back to their lives. I'm gonna say that.
I know Rachel did not shoot that man, so, and I didn't, so. All I tell you is talk to his dope buddies. I don't know.
Oh, what?
I said talk to his dope buddies. I don't know. I don't know the guy.
Jason doesn't have an emotional reaction to finding out that he's accused of Colby's murder. Angela, on the other hand, doesn't seem to believe it.
To help her out.
You're telling me to kill somebody.
And that's why I wanted to go over with you a little more clearly, a little bit more in depth of what your timeline was when you went down to Florida.
He's like a teddy bear. He's huge, but he's loving and caring.
Did he drive down?
No, I drove down and he drove back.
When he called Rachel, or when he was on the phone right after when y'all were leaving, do you remember what he said or what he was talking about?
I didn't hear the conversation.
Sure enough, the outside camera at the liquor store also recorded Angela sitting in the car. But it wasn't Jason's truck. It was her VW Beetle. And since she admits that she drove him there, Detective Kelly wonders if she knew what she was helping with. But Angela doesn't seem to realize that her own freedom now might be on the line. She's too busy trying to defend Jason.
And the only time we were apart was like when you went to the bathroom.
Where did y'all stop to go to the bathroom?
Maybe at Tom Thumb.
At the gas station, you said?
Yeah. And we went to the bathroom at the public beach in the pavilions.
How long was he gone for?
Maybe 5 minutes.
What time was this, do you think? You were just going.
Oh God, I couldn't guess.
Was that?
Maybe 8 o'clock.
So it was dark out.
Yeah, it was so dark.
Did you see normal when you got back into the car after that?
Yeah. Like I said, he was in a good mood all day. We had a great time.
Kind of get the idea from Jason and you that he was probably trying to protect you as well.
I feel very protected right now. I feel like an idiot right now. And my heart is broken.
As Angela grapples with her emotions, Detective Kelly notices that there's a Tom Thumb convenience store in walking distance from Colby's apartment, where the murder took place. And to get there, Jason would have had to walk along the path that the bloodhound initially indicated. All of the pieces are finally coming together. But the only definite way to ensure that Colby gets justice is to convince Jason to confess. He's not budging on his activities that evening, so Detective Kelly tries coming at him from a different angle.
And I'm telling you, I love her to death, and I don't want her going to jail for the rest of her life. Because I did not shoot the man.
So everything that Rachel told us that we can verify with evidence is a lie, is what you're saying.
If you can verify with evidence,
the evidence and what Rachel's telling us, you're saying is a lie.
Because I know the truth. I did not do it, and I know what's on our phone conversations.
What is on your phone conversations?
I don't remember exactly, but I know what didn't have nothing to do with me shooting nobody.
Did you ever call her when you were there?
I don't remember if I did or not. I talked to him. I talked to him.
You didn't.
I talked to him when I was there.
You told him you did not talk to her.
I don't think I did. I think I talked to her mother after that.
Your ex-wife, Christy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Angela's presence on scene isn't the only reason that she's become a suspect. As soon as they pulled her over that morning, the police got a search warrant for her car, too.
So we're looking at, obviously went through your car real quick. In the center console right off the rear here, we found this note. So I want to take a look at the note.
What does that say?
So it says 77.
Yeah, it's on the numbers, but I can't make.
Cayo Grande Navarro.
That's a word? Red toy
Red.
by Vincent.
Colby Vincent.
And a phone number.
Do you know that phone number? I mean anything?
No, because you know I don't know phone numbers.
It says Shalimar. Buzzcut bald, 6 foot.
Something's bald and 6'4".
It says.
I mean, this handwriting matches all the notes and stuff that it is.
Oh, it looks like it's him.
Well, that's a note that we found that was inside your car, and that's the name, that's the address where the murder occurred.
In addition to having Colby's name and address, the note in Jason's handwriting also had a description of Colby and the car he drove. They can only assume that that information came from Rachel during one of her numerous phone calls with Jason that week. The cases against Rachel and Jason are getting stronger by the minute, but the police still want more. Anyone else who knew what was happening is also complicit. With a young girl traumatized and missing her father, Detective Kelly is determined that every single person will answer for their crimes.
I need you to understand the truth, Angela, because I need to make sure I need to understand that you didn't have any part in this.
I'm so not just upset, I'm so mad right now.
Are you upset because he got caught, or are you upset because you didn't know this was happening? You didn't know this happened in front of you.
Oh no, it's stupid or anything. I know I watched enough TV shows. I know, are y'all trying to make me incriminate him somehow? And
Angela, I'm being real honest with you right now. The more truthful you are about what's going on here, it's going to be very deciding on your fate as well.
Angela might be folding under pressure, but the harder that Kelly pushes Jason, the more obstinate he becomes.
We already served a search warrant at your residence today. That's what we did right out.
I didn't kill the guy. Don't take my kindness for weakness. Don't insult my intelligence.
Well, then use your intelligence and realize the big picture here.
I don't know what happened to Mr. whatever his name is. But I know I didn't do it, and I know my wife didn't have nothing to do with that.
She's going to be charged with accessory after the fact, which is to a capital murder.
And so she ain't going to get, there's no way, because we did not do it.
And the second that your wife left for work this morning after waking you up, she was detained, and her car was impounded, and we're doing a search warrant on the car right now. And she's fixing to get charged and extradited to Florida for accessory for that murder.
Because she has nothing to do with it.
Because that's why exactly. She was with you the whole time.
So it gets a lot to go to the victim. I was going down there for that reason, Nobody would even know that I was in the state of Florida.
So you made some mistakes.
No, I would have thought it out.
So you had a week.
A week for what?
You had a week of communication.
I didn't even know I was going to the beach till that day. My wife wouldn't let me do it if I wanted to. She damn sure wouldn't even come with me. I hate this.
Her being with you is all to just for her mere fact that she drove you here, drove you to Florida, is all that needed to happen.
No, I don't see the court system's going to put us in jail for going to the beach.
No, they're going to put you in jail for murder. They're going to put her in jail for accessory to murder. Well, just like we put Rachel in jail for accessory to murder.
I'm building this call says back and forth. Ain't going nowhere. We didn't do it. I don't give a fuck. So
maybe you just own it for a minute.
I didn't kill the man. I don't know.
Save your wife. Okay.
Not even the chance to save his family from further suffering can move Jason to cooperate. So the interview concludes. In addition to the conversations with Rachel, Jason's phone records show that he was at the Cayo Grande apartments at the time of the shooting. Then, when the ballistics report comes in, experts confirm that the bullet that took Colby's life came from his gun. But the arrests still aren't done. The $100 of gas money was sent by Christy, not Rachel. And not only that, despite saying that she had no contact with her ex-husband, the police found a text from Jason telling her that he had just arrived in town. The police believe that at the very least, Christy knew what was going to happen. At worst, she was a co-conspirator. A warrant is issued for her arrest.
I'm not gonna hurt you. As long as you don't pull away from me or anything.
She's a warrant for her arrest.
For what?
Accessory after the fact.
What the actual?
Capital felony. You're fine.
That son of a bitch. Come on, I'm so sorry. I didn't do anything. My God, y'all come in 3 deep to arrest me?
Yeah.
Have y'all?
It's a capital felony. Yeah, it's not an investigation.
But I didn't do anything.
Hey, look, I don't know anything about the case. I just know what the warrant's for.
You're fucking assholes.
In May of 2024, Jason Curtis was convicted of first-degree murder and will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Then, on April 24th, 2025, Rachel Moore was also found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Initially, Christy was charged with conspiracy to commit murder. However, the charges were dropped when her attorneys argued that Rachel could have used Christy's phone to pay and contact Jason. And finally, the last person charged in connection to Colby's murder was Angela Fawcett. She was charged with accessory after the fact since she drove him across state lines to commit murder. She has not yet been sentenced. And finally, Colby's mother, Megan, has officially adopted Presley. It's March 19th, 2023.
Damn. That was a weird one, fam. The one shorty got off, though. She was able to smooth her little way through. I got another one, though, for y'all, man. It says a wealthy man thought he had committed the perfect crime, and he was wrong. Let's go.
June 20th, 2019. A worried father calls the Salt Lake City Police Department from his home in California.
Yeah, I'd like to get, if possible, have a wellness check done on my daughter. I've been trying to get a hold of her all week. I was just wondering if I could have somebody maybe go by her house and check on her.
Mackenzie Lewick, a 23-year-old college student, had just returned to Salt Lake City after spending a week at home for a family funeral. Her last text to her mother was simple: "Landed. Love you, Mama." There was no hint that it might be her final message. When her parents dropped her off at the airport, they expected to see her again when the semester ended. But Mackenzie never made it home after her late-night flight. And as days passed without contact, their worst fears began to unfold.
Last time we heard from her, she got off the plane coming back from LA. It was 1 a.m. She was going to grab an Uber and go home, but that's the last I heard from her.
So 1 a.m. this morning?
No, 1 a.m. Monday morning. So we've been trying to get a hold of her all week. Usually it's unlike her to return a call, but it goes straight to voicemails.
Mackenzie, a dedicated student, was now missing. The investigation that followed would unravel a chilling mystery. CCTV footage, phone records, and police interrogations revealing the brutal fate that she met in the early hours of June 17th. Join us at The Decoder as we trace the timeline of Mackenzie Lewick's final moments and uncover the truth behind her tragic disappearance. This case takes us to Salt Lake City, the capital of Utah. With a violent crime rate of 9.79 per 1,000 residents, Salt Lake City has a crime rate higher than that of Mackenzie's native Los Angeles by 1 in 1,000. But no one expects that 1 in 1,000 to make a difference, and no one expects to be that one. Mackenzie was in Salt Lake City to finish her studies at the University of Utah, just 2 semesters away from earning her degree. Living with 2 roommates, her life seemed typical for a college student. But after a flight back from California, where she attended the funeral of her grandmother, her communication stopped cold. Her parents, Diane and Greg Lewick, had grown increasingly anxious after their last message from Mackenzie. Diane didn't see the text until she woke up the next morning, and when she responded, she noticed something strange. Her reply wasn't delivered through iMessage. It had gone through as a regular SMS. Mackenzie's phone was offline. At first, the Lewicks brushed it off, but as time stretched on and their calls continued going straight to voicemail, worry crept in.
Please record your message.
By June 20th, after hearing from none of Mackenzie's friends or roommates, her parents decided to act.
And does anyone have a key?
I don't know. The landlord may. I don't know of anybody that would be there besides her roommates that would have a key. You know what? I take that back. She said she dropped one behind the mailbox, but she could never get it out. So there may be one back there. Somebody can fish it out, but I don't know if she ever got it out or not.
The police's first step was to carry out a wellness check at Mackenzie's address in Salt Lake City, on the assumption that she'd made it back there from the airport.
You know where your landlord lives? Does he live on the premises, or how we get a hold of him and maybe get a key or something like that if we need it? Yes, the key to the apartment so that we might be able to go in there just in case she is in there injured or something like that.
They tried to contact the landlord, but received no reply.
I don't think University of Utah is going to give us any information. Like, we could probably call up there and see if she's supposed to be in a class. Yeah, she's enrolled. They could go check her classes to see if she's there, but this is her car. And landlord's not answering his phone, so I just left him a message.
Eventually, one of Mackenzie's roommates let them into the house. He said that Mackenzie had asked him to take care of her cat while she was in California, and that she'd said she was returning to Salt Lake City that week, but he didn't know exactly when. On a search of the property, the police didn't find the suitcase Mackenzie had traveled with. Her car was still in the driveway, and there were no signs of foul play. The implication was clear. She'd never made it home. There were other concerning signs. She hadn't been seen in class all week, and she was due to submit an online midterm exam by midnight that night, June 20th, and she hadn't yet logged into the portal. Alongside school, Mackenzie worked at a biological testing company, and her colleagues there couldn't confirm that she turned up to work since going to California. The police also reviewed surveillance footage from the airport at the time her flight was scheduled to land, 1:35 in the morning. She was listed on the manifest, meaning that she had indeed gotten on the flight as planned, which aligned with her text to her mom upon landing. And the police managed to pick her out on CCTV leaving the airport and getting into a Lyft car at 2:40 a.m. Meanwhile, Greg was doing his own investigation into his daughter's life, looking for any clues as to her whereabouts. Mackenzie shared her bank accounts with her parents, and upon looking into them, Greg found an unusual transaction dated June 10th in the amount of $300. And lately, she hadn't been asking her parents to assist her with tuition payments or rent, and she'd recently bought new furniture. Greg didn't know where this money came from, if it was just her earnings from the biological testing company job, or if it came from somewhere else. Mackenzie's brother knew that she had been seeing men through the Tinder app, and that she might have a boyfriend who lived in Park City, but he didn't know this possible boyfriend's name. Nonetheless, it was a lead. One of her sorority sisters also corroborated that she'd been seeing men through Tinder and said Mackenzie had confessed a desire to become a stripper.
I think she was trying to almost gain confidence and security in herself. I think she realized she was really shy and she wanted to be more outgoing and meet people.
Greg contacted AT&T to look into Mackenzie's phone records. On June 17th, between 1:50 and 1:58 a.m., so after Mackenzie had landed in Salt Lake City, she had texted one number 8 times. The content of these messages was not available, which meant it could be a lead or just a dead end. Maybe this was just Mackenzie ordering her rideshare. The police listed Mackenzie as a missing person and sent a text message to her number saying, "You are an adult and have the right to not communicate with whomever you want. I simply need to verify your safety. We will not communicate your location or anything else unless you give us permission. Please give me a call."
Kenzie Lueck's family and friends trying to reach her on social media. They posted this video hoping she might see it.
Everyone is out looking for you around the country, and they all want you to know that we're advocating for you, we're fighting for you, and we're going to bring you home.
In cases like these, with a young person reported missing, it wasn't unusual for them simply to have run off, needing some time away from everything. Mackenzie's family could only hope that this was the case.
You know, she might be upset, but come and just call somebody and say, "I'm fine, quit looking for me."
One thing that we wanted to talk about is she texted her family that she landed at the airport. She wouldn't have done that if she wanted to purposely disappear.
On June 21st, the police widened the investigation to Mackenzie's known connections. They uncovered an ex-boyfriend who dated Mackenzie until April 2018. He told them that a few weeks after the relationship had ended, she'd sent him a Snapchat video of her having sex with 2 other people, and he'd blocked her. One of Mackenzie's sorority sisters had something interesting to say, that Mackenzie had had a job interview lined up at Exotic Kitty, which was a gentleman's club. The investigators also spoke to one of her male friends, who said that he and Mackenzie had been casually dating on and off since September 2018, but had never been exclusive, and had had plans to meet up when Mackenzie got back from California. This friend said that Mackenzie was a regular sugar baby, meaning she connected with men, sugar daddies, who would give her gifts and money. This was maybe her mystery source of income. She used the dating app Tinder as well as the site Seeking Arrangement for this purpose. The site's homepage reads, "Seeking Arrangement delivers a new way for relationships to form and grow. Sugar babies and sugar daddies or mamas both get what they want when they want it." Mackenzie had last logged into this website on June 16th, a few hours before her disappearance. The friend also told police that she'd connected with a guy on Tinder about 3 weeks ago, but didn't know any details about the mystery man.
I have no idea what happened to her, where she is. Nobody does, and it's pretty terrifying.
A mixed picture of Mackenzie was emerging, a side to her life that her parents hadn't known anything about. Born on March 8, 1996 in the beachside LA suburb of El Segundo, she was the second of her parents' 4 children and their only daughter. At high school, she was on the swim and water polo teams and helped to start a club for breast cancer awareness. She continued her feminist thinking at the University of Utah, where she was a positive and supportive sisterly presence in her sorority, Alpha Chi Omega. The sorority's charity work focused on domestic violence awareness and prevention, and on Facebook, Mackenzie posted to celebrate the anniversary of women's suffrage. She'd had a difficult year, as according to one friend, she'd been sexually assaulted in 2018 and was having a hard time dealing with it, seeing a therapist and taking medication for depression. Mackenzie was raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and Salt Lake City is the faith's headquarters. Mackenzie wasn't devout, however, and enjoyed going out to bars with her friends, and apparently meeting men on Tinder. She'd also recently come out to her family as bisexual, though her friends and family weren't aware of any women she was seeing. She came from a healthcare background, with her dad Greg working in healthcare logistics and administration. Mackenzie herself was majoring in pre-nursing and kinesiology, the study of human movement. She hoped to go to nursing or medical school after her graduation, planned for May 2020, but she'd never make it to graduation.
Over the last couple days, I've spoken with Greg Lueck. I can feel the heartache and the pain and the suffering in his voice as we spoke. And my commitment to Greg was that we would do everything within our power, the Salt Lake City Police Department, to bring Mackenzie home.
Eventually, the police managed to track down the details of the Lyft ride Mackenzie had taken from the airport. Information in her email inbox showed she'd been picked up at 2:40 a.m. on June 17th, and then dropped off at 16 East Center Street, North Salt Lake at 2:59 a.m., 19 minutes later. This location was a park, Hatch Park, with several buildings nearby. There was no obvious reason for Mackenzie to be there.
Confirmed that this was the location where she was last seen, Hatch Park here in North Salt Lake. Investigators now revealing she met someone else after getting dropped off.
Detectives have spoken with the Lyft driver and learned that Mackenzie was met at Hatch Park by an individual in a vehicle. Mackenzie did not appear to be in any type of distress.
On the 25th, we learned about a disturbing problem with the cameras at Hatch Park in North Salt Lake, which could have filmed Mackenzie getting in that car the morning of June 17th.
Hatch Park doesn't have any cameras. We have some dummy cameras.
Meanwhile, the police had opened a tip line, and it was flooded with information. People reported sightings of Mackenzie in the company of various men, including one on June 21st in a liquor store. The witness claimed to have seen her buying alcohol with a white man and described her as wearing a white shirt with jeans and having a tattoo on her arms above each elbow, one with words and the other with an arrow. Mackenzie did indeed have tattoos, but not these tattoos. Rather, she had a tattoo of a star on her back. These false sightings muddied the waters and made it difficult to determine when the last sighting of Mackenzie actually was. Had she been wandering around Salt Lake City all week? Or was that fateful Lyft ride to the park in North Salt Lake the last moment before something terrible? The only one who could meaningfully answer this question was the Lyft driver. Lyft's privacy policies meant that investigators had to get a search warrant to access Mackenzie's account details. And by the time they spoke to the person who had driven her that fateful night, it was June 22nd, and she had been officially missing for 2 days. When they questioned the driver, he said he dropped Mackenzie as planned at the park in North Salt Lake, where she'd been picked up by a friend in a car that looked like a Subaru.
I remember I was actually going to turn off my my app and go home, but right then I got another order to go pick somebody up downtown. So I just went to go pick up that person. They seemed to know each other really well, because I think all I heard was, "How are you doing? How are your trip?" Just kind of basic greetings. The situation seemed very safe. She obviously knew the person that she was getting into the car with.
None of Mackenzie's friends had come forward to say they'd picked her up that night, though her status as missing was widely reported. Her other friends were speaking on the news.
Where could she have gone? Her car has not been moved. Things aren't adding up.
Meanwhile, time since Mackenzie's disappearance was stretching on. She'd been booked on a flight back to LA on June 23rd for a family wedding, and the police met the plane to determine if she was on it, but she wasn't. And when her bank records were produced under subpoena, they discovered she hadn't made any transactions since the Lyft payment in the early hours of June 17th. So whatever had happened to her had likely happened that very same night, possibly at Hatch Park. The investigators set up a geofence for the area of Hatch Park in the early hours of June 17th, which registered 6 devices entering that vicinity in the time frame. One device pinged several times in the area, a device belonging neither to Mackenzie nor the Lyft driver. It belonged instead to a man named Ayula Ajayi. Ayula's phone had pinged in the same area as Mackenzie's right before 3 a.m., when Mackenzie's phone was turned off, between 2:58 and 2:59 a.m. More damningly, phone records showed that Mackenzie and Ayula had been having conversations over the TextMe app. This was enough for the police to apply for a search warrant of Ayula's residence. On June 25th, the police made contact with him. Though his lawyer advised him not to, he sat down willingly with the police. He claimed he only wanted to clear up a mistake.
You're not under arrest. You're not being detained. You can leave anytime you want to, okay?
It just doesn't make sense. I want to get to the root of it too. Yeah. Because when you say my IP is showing, that means something is wrong.
AJ worked in IT, meaning he understood the significance of his geolocation and the way they triangulated his proximity to Mackenzie on the night she disappeared. He claimed he wanted to clear up any confusion, and he mentioned his alibi right out of the starting gate.
So, I have security camera in front of the house, and then I have one inside the house. So that's my baby. Remember, she was with me on that day. So according to the video, she was with me.
He said his baby mama's first name was Michelle, and that he didn't know her last name. She was 8 months pregnant with his child, but they weren't together. AJ seemed to feel guilt, however, about using the seeking arrangement site.
So I have PTSD and anxiety. I just need to talk to someone whenever I'm alone and I'm freaking out.
So this is a seeking arrangement website?
Yes. Okay. So, and I go through the whole everything. I can't see anyone that matched that profile and that matched that picture. Okay. But if you can see most of them are in Seattle, Ogden, everywhere around the world.
Okay.
So I never even try to meet them. I just need someone to talk to whenever I'm freaking out, so to calm down. So even some of them are in Washington, D.C. And one in Logan. So all of them, all we just do is to talk. And if I met her from there, I'm positive that I probably don't want to meet her, because all this is not revealed to my baby mama, and I don't want her to know about it, so I never meet any of them.
He couldn't deny that he'd been using the website, since the investigators had concrete evidence. He did, however, deny meeting Mackenzie through the site. But why had they texted outside of the site on June 16th, only 9 hours before she went missing? AJ claimed that she must have found his phone number on his profile and texted him the question mark to ask if he was interested.
So you're still saying that that's the only text, that's the only messages you got from her, right?
That I can remember. So for her to just send me a question mark, so there's a possibility that I've talked to her in the past.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you did this or you were involved in it at all. I'm just saying that someone at your house or someone was using your IP address, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it.
I would like to do that because I'm freaking out already. I have anxiety and I have PTSD, so that's why I've been calling you, like, please let me help if any way I can help. Even my lawyer don't want me to come here right now.
He claimed he didn't save numbers in his phone, and so he didn't recall if he'd talked to Mackenzie before. When she asked for a photo, he sent her a selfie, and she never responded to it.
So earlier you said we could have to take your phone and download it. Are you still willing to do that or no?
I just need to call my lawyer and see if it's okay, because I want to help as much as I can.
Sure.
But she's saying that some police just want to pin it on someone, that they can pin it on me.
AJ said he downloaded all the online evidence the police wanted, including the footage from his home security camera, which he claimed placed him at home all the early hours of June 17th, but wasn't willing to hand it over.
AJ, the only reason, you can understand if this was your sister or something, or your mom, we'd be working just as hard to find her for you, okay? This family is in that same boat. We just want to do everything we can, and just because you've chatted with her, you've texted back and forth twice or however many times, and it's bouncing off your IP address, we just want to cross every avenue, make sure that people are involved, people who are staying with you, people might be parked outside your house using your Wi-Fi. We just want to make sure.
AJ excused the coincidences as best he could. He wasn't under arrest. However, at the end of the interview, police confiscated his cell phones before allowing him to leave. And on the following day, they executed a search warrant at his house.
That search warrant is here. Can I borrow your phone to call my lawyer?
He was broadly cooperative, but he questioned why they confiscated his phone as evidence. They then proceeded to search the house.
Hello? Salt Lake Police, can you come out, please?
They found another occupant of the house, a guest who was staying in AJ's spare bedroom through an Airbnb booking.
Hi, it's the police department. Are you renting this room? Yes. Okay. We are going to be serving a warrant on this house, so we need... Is there anyone else here? Just me. If you want to just grab your wallet. I got my wallet. Okay, we'll need you to come out then. Okay.
He'd only arrived from the airport that morning and had no idea why the police were suddenly conducting a search on his host's house. Other than this guest, there was no one in the house, and there was no sign of Mackenzie.
House clear, just the one Airbnb guy in the whole place.
The police told AJ he was free to leave.
You're free to leave. I'm not detaining you, so you can leave whenever you want. You want to check in Friday?
No, I just don't want you guys to use anything when I'm gone because I gave them my phone and they used that against me before. So I just want to make sure that you guys approve everything before I do it.
You're free to leave if you want.
Any idea where you want to go?
Just, I don't even know. I don't have my phone on the card, so I have no destination.
Okay. Again, and I don't have a time frame, right? Like, I don't know if...
Could be 10 minutes, could be a little bit longer.
Yeah, so...
I would assume you'd want to be here.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't have... You're sitting right there. I have no problem with you sitting in the shade on the porch if you want to. Like, that looks miserable.
Yeah, if you guys have my phone without my permission, and if you guys, they give it to you guys when you are here, and I can see what you guys are doing with it. That would make more sense. But they took it with them. I don't know what.
And I don't either.
So I just think that's not fair.
AJ left, he said, to go to the local library. Undercover officers followed him and learned that he didn't go to the library. He went to a Smith's grocery and the bank inside it. There, he bought a pay-as-you-go cell phone. A few hours later, after having gathered the evidence at the house, the police came to detain him.
What's going on, man? Detectives are ready to talk to you about everything that's going on real fast, so if you want to come, I'll give you right back to the house real quick.
But there's Fox News over there.
I know, I'm going to drive you back in my car. It's a camera, so...
We'll stay away from the news.
Yeah, we're not going to go by the news.
Well, I don't want my face on the news.
I will do that so it does. Okay, so stand up real quick.
We're just going to... Oh, yeah, you arresting me or something?
No. Stand up.
Then why you're going to be detained for a little bit?
You're being detained. But just for a second, okay? I got to put you in handcuffs just while we're driving.
Your policy. We're just going to go talk to detectives for a little bit.
The police confiscated his new cell phone as evidence. It was 7 days after Mackenzie was reported missing, and 10 days after the last sighting of her alive. So what did the police find at AJ's residence that was damning enough for them to detain him? They found multiple knives, a hammer, and a gun. In his car, they found dirt and debris. They also discovered a lot of electronics, including a router and a Wi-Fi mesh system. All these electronic items, including AJ's phones and computer, would be forensically examined.
Our detectives collected multiple items of evidence throughout the night that are in the process of being tested and analyzed. This will take some time.
But the most telling evidence wasn't technological at all. The investigators found a freshly dug patch of earth in the back of AJ's yard and heard from his neighbors that on June 17th, he'd been burning something there that had given off a foul smell.
The smell of gas was outrageous. And I thought maybe I was in my bedroom and I smelled it through my window and I thought maybe it was my motorhome. And so I came outside to make sure, and there was this smell in the air that was just almost rancid. It was just really disgusting smelling.
A canine unit was brought in to search for human remains, and the dog detected something.
Tara Chatterton says she was hired to clean the house, but quit after just 1 day after discovering it bristled with cameras.
How many cameras did he have in the house, and where were they placed?
I figured around 8 to 10.
Wow.
But there was one in every single room for sure, but there was several in the master bedroom.
And where were the cameras facing in the master bedroom?
Towards the bed.
She says the accused killer specifically asked her to bring her 12-year-old daughter Cherish with her when she cleaned the house. Tara says AJ had a certain charm, but reminded her of notorious serial killer Ted Bundy.
I just knew in my gut that I should not go back. I could just feel it. I just knew that there was something wrong with it.
So they interviewed AJ a second time, and this time they stopped being so empathetic. The police pushed him on the limits of coincidence. The locations of his phone and Mackenzie's was an accident, he argued, or a mistake. He kept his Wi-Fi open without password protection for the sake of his Airbnb guests. This was why there was confusion around his IP address being used. So he said,
AJ, I just told you that your phone records and the location put you up at the meet. Do you think, honestly, and expect me to believe that you ended that conversation and somehow you and her location end up in the exact same spot?
Oh, I'm not doubting you. If I see that too, if I'm your case, I would be asking myself, what are you asking me right now?
It's not a miraculous question.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
Stuff doesn't just happen.
No.
Yes, I agree with you.
I'm telling you to explain that. And so far, you have not.
Well, how do I explain something I don't know?
Are you saying you don't know or you don't remember? Because those are two different things, AJ.
He had no answer on this supposed coincidence, and he wasn't convincing. When the interview ended, the police had confirmed some things, that AJ had used the seeking arrangement site and that he talked to Mackenzie over text. But AJ hadn't confessed to anything more incriminating. He insisted he'd been home on the night of the 16th and the morning of the 17th, and he claimed he'd never met Mackenzie in person. He did confess to having lit a fire in his backyard on the 17th, but said he put it out as soon as a neighbor told him he wasn't allowed to be burning things because of pollution restrictions and that he needed to call the fire department. This same neighbor told the police that the fire had smelled like nothing she'd ever smelled before and that she'd told him to call the fire department or she would. AJ said he'd only been burning some trash and maybe some clothes, but he insisted the clothes were his own. He explained the dirt and debris in the floor of his car as the result of recent work on his yard, saying he'd recently planted 20 or so flowers and the debris was from the fertilizer. Apparently, he was also in the habit of killing goats for food and burning them instead of skinning them, but he hadn't done that for a while. This, according to AJ, was the explanation for any blood they might find in the bottom of the fridge in his garage. But it was not goat remains they found in his backyard. No, instead, they found a human bone, charred muscle tissue, and part of a human scalp with hair. There was also a cell phone. AJ's fire had not been a simple exercise in burning trash. It had been disposal of evidence.
This is one of the most difficult phone calls I've ever made, as both Greg and his wife Diana were devastated and heartbroken by this news.
AJ's car smelled strongly of gas, and they discovered a red gas can that looked identical to the one he'd been seen purchasing at 9 a.m. on June 17th, the morning after Mackenzie's disappearance. There was also surveillance evidence of AJ's car in those fateful early hours. In this footage, AJ's Kia can be seen heading towards Hatch Park at 2:48 a.m. At 2:59 a.m., the white lift vehicle drives away from the park, and about 10 seconds later, so does AJ's Kia. Only now, Mackenzie was in it. Following the interview, the police had released AJ, and he went to stay with a friend, but it wouldn't be for long. The physical evidence against him was mounting, and early on June 28th, the samples from his backyard were confirmed to match Mackenzie Lewick's DNA, and the police were prepared to detain Ayoola Ajayi on suspicion of murder. A SWAT team was deployed to the friend's apartment where AJ was staying. Meanwhile, one of the officers called him to encourage him to surrender.
AJ, you're being a little bit unreasonable, dude. I'm a man, you're a man, we're grown men. If you want to arrest me, I will come down. You can arrest me. I will be there. I can see you. I will come down. Okay, come on down now. You're not trying to. Will you to arrest me? Will you come down, please? No, only if you tell me that you want to arrest me. I'm not arresting you. No, I'm not. I'm not. You just come down. If you're not trying to arrest me, then I don't want to talk to you. If I'm not trying to arrest you, then you don't want to talk to me? Yes. What if I was trying to arrest you? Do you want to come down and talk to me? Sure. Okay, I'm trying to arrest you. Come down and talk to me. Do you have your arrest warrant with you? Yep. Okay, thanks.
The officer called AJ's bluff. AJ came downstairs, and the SWAT team arrested him without incident.
We are filing charges of aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping, and desecration of a body in the homicide of Mackenzie Lewick. The man charged is Ayoola Ajayi. I will not be saying the killer's name again.
So who actually was Ayoola Ajayi, and what did he have to do with Mackenzie Lewick? Born in 1988, AJ was raised in Nigeria but had lived in Utah since at least 2009, when he'd started at Utah State University on a student visa. He'd returned to the university 3 separate times, but never earned his degree. He'd also been with the Utah National Guard from 2014 to 2015, when he was discharged with an entry-level separation. He did not complete basic training and didn't receive any certificates, leaving him ineligible to be employed on any tours of duty. He was discharged for medical reasons, potentially glaucoma. However, his LinkedIn page, which has since been taken down, listed that he was an IT specialist for the U.S. Army from 2014 to 2016, and that he had experience working in IT for Dell, Goldman Sachs, and Microsoft. He had attempted to start a modeling career, describing himself on his model management page as tall, buffed, funny. I am a victim, romantic, violent, and character actor.
Evie Keener owns a modeling and talent agency in Salt Lake City that represents dozens of beautiful young women. Evie says she met the accused killer here in Salt Lake City, Utah, at a networking event for models and their agents last summer. She says the suspect approached her about signing with her modeling agency, but she says there was something about him that creeped her out.
On the surface, he seemed perfect. He seemed very smart, very good looking.
But after attending several networking parties, 31-year-old Ayoola Ajayi began reaching out to Evie on social media. She instinctively sensed danger.
He wanted to sign on with my agency, and I did not feel comfortable having him in the same room with my young models. So I just listened to my gut, and I didn't have anything further to do with him.
AJ self-published a book on Amazon in 2018 called Forge Identity. It was a fictional story about a boy witnessing a friend and neighbor be burned alive by a violent mob. It was suggested that this book was based on a true story. He was also married to a woman named Tanisha Ajayi, who lived in Dallas, Texas.
I first met him, he was a sweet person, he was a good person. He used to send me money down here for my kids.
They'd met through a family friend and got married when he was 23 and she was 27. They'd never lived together, and she hadn't spoken to him in years.
I just stopped talking to him because that was like free for my life. The stuff that he was doing, it was changing my life.
According to Tanisha, AJ had lost his temper when she refused to come to Utah to live with him and threatened to kill her if she wouldn't.
Because he threatened me, and I have kids to live for. He got aggressive, and he was saying that he was going to kidnap me. I just left him alone.
She said he once tried to tie her up with a phone cord, and she had to jump through a window to escape.
I was trying to get out the window. We was at his friend's house, and he closed the window down, and I jumped through the window, and he had a butcher knife. He was trying to stab me with the knife. I was trying to grab the knife out of his hand because he was trying to stab me in my hand, but I had to try to grab the knife out of his hand, and it couldn't. I had all these cuts.
AJ refused to sign divorce papers, and as a result, they remained married. This wasn't the only violent blip in AJ's past. Though he had no convictions on his record, he'd been investigated for a sex offense in 2014 and again in March 2018, just over a year before Mackenzie's disappearance. when he was accused of sexually assaulting a woman he met on a dating app.
This is the back door leading down to the basement, where a contractor says the suspect asked him to build a soundproof room, complete with a secret door, hooks on the concrete wall, and also a fingerprint lock.
Investigations into Mackenzie's phone show.
Brian Wolf could only sit and watch as police announced the end of the search for Mackenzie Lewick.
Holy crap.
All week on the news, he kept seeing pictures of a house that he was just inside a couple months ago. Now he sees the mugshot of the man he met inside.
I've never ever had anybody ask me anything like this. 100% that man that they arrested is the man I met. Guaranteed. I'm shaking right now. My heart's pounding. I'm almost about to cry. It's scary. I feel sorry for that girl.
He says murder suspect Ayoola Ajayi
He just said to put his name down as AJ.
wanted him to build a secret soundproof room in the basement right here with a thumbprint lock and hooks hanging from the walls.
Just said that his girlfriend was coming into town and needed to get it done before she got there because she was a Mormon girl. She didn't know he drank, so he wanted to hide her alcohol from her. And I was like, well, why do you need it to be soundproof? I told a lot of people that I thought something weird was going on over there, and it turns out there obviously was. He was adamant about getting it done really fast, and money was no object, and he needed to get it done before his girlfriend came into town.
He says he still isn't sure what AJ actually wanted the room for.
I could totally do it, but I never would have done it. There's no way.
But whatever it was, he refused to be a part of it.
I just had a gut feeling that the room he wanted built wasn't appropriate for anything. It wasn't something where somebody would want to be in that room alone with him. And even my nephew, when we got out to the truck, we both looked at each other and was like, that was weird, right? And he was like, yeah, that was hella weird. We're not doing this job, right? And I was like, hell no.
AJ's history only heightened suspicion, and further searches of his property uncovered damning evidence. The police found clothing with bleach and bloodstains on it, as well as a bloodied shower curtain. AJ was already under arrest for her murder. They still had to find her body. And once again, it would be AJ's phone records that proved the key, placing him at Logan Canyon on June 25th. A scenic location popular with hikers, climbers, and skiers, it was an hour and 20 minutes drive from Salt Lake City, and remote enough that it registered as a likely place for AJ to have disposed of Mackenzie's remains. On July 2nd, the investigators began a search of this area. It was on July 3rd, just after midday, that they made a breakthrough, the horrifying discovery of human remains. It was Mackenzie's body, just as they'd feared. She was buried in a shallow grave covered with some brush. Her hands had been zip-tied behind her back, and her body was partially burned. There was blunt force trauma to the head, and her killer had made an attempt to bury her body, but not well enough. Finally, on July 10th, Ayoola was formally charged with aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping, obstructing justice, and desecration of a human body. What he'd done to—
Oh, damn. My bad, y'all.
June 20th, 2019. As tall, just over a year as he would leave.
Her own free. He said that he rented. Knew that there was something wrong with it.
So they interviewed AJ. So does AJ's Kia. Only now.
Lock and hooks.
Both awful and awfully Mackenzie. Eventually giving it to a woman who later recognized AJ on the news as the man who'd given it to her. His digital footprint had caught up with him, and he'd have to face the consequences. During the search of his electronic devices, the police had allegedly discovered pornographic imagery of minors.
Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill says 31-year-old Ayoola Ajayi sexually assaulted another woman in March of 2018. A court document states Ajayi invited the woman over for dinner. After the two ate while watching TV, the woman alleges Ajayi sexually assaulted her, causing significant pain.
He was charged with 19 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, but these charges were later dropped. On October 7th, 2020, AJ pleaded guilty to first-degree aggravated murder and third-degree desecration of a human body.
Are you entering your guilty pleas today of your own free will and choice?
In exchange, the prosecutors took the death penalty off the table. He was instead sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. He was also charged with the 2018 kidnapping and assault of the woman he'd met on Tinder, who'd come forward when his name was released in the news in connection with Mackenzie's death. For this, he was sentenced to a further 1 to 15 years in prison.
The man accused of killing University of Utah student Mackenzie Lewick last year is now selling his home.
This house has gone up for sale, and after what happened last summer, they'll always look at this house differently.
Every time I come by, you can't help but remember what happened there.
And even though the neighborhood has quieted down in the 8 months since this house became a crime scene for murder, for neighbors, this home will always be different.
There's a black mark in your mind when you look at the house that kind of just reminds you that something horrible happened. I was really surprised that it was for sale because I was under the understanding that they wanted to keep it rented to make funds to help pay the defense.
The listing online shows Ajayi wants $349,000 for the 1,800 square foot house. Investment opportunity, the description says. Cutest house on the block. The listing realtor declined to comment. For neighbors, this home will always be different, but Scott hopes the next owner will help change that.
Some new life, some positive energy and positive activity going on there. That would make, a change.
I did talk with the man who is currently renting the home. He said that he rented it from someone who's managing the property for Ayoola Ajayi. He did say that they disclosed to him what had happened there before he rented the home.
What happened was awful. I mean, it's a terrible case. I chose to not look at police reports, even though they said I could look at them if I wanted to.
But it was hard to miss today's news.
Mr. Ajayi burned Ms. Lewick's body, her clothing, and her belongings in an attempt to dispose of evidence of her murder.
Why Kenzie? What did she do to deserve this? Why burn half of her body?
I think we're all still in extreme shock. Even right now, I feel like I can call her and text her and she'll answer. I mean, we didn't get to say goodbye to our friend. This person stole our friend from us. So I don't know if we'll ever have closures.
Mackenzie's father, Greg, said, "My daughter, Mackenzie Lewick, was a sweet, amazing young lady with the world ahead of her. She was a kind-hearted person that cared about others. Now I will not have the opportunity to see her blossom in life." The prosecutor said this was murder for murder's sake, that Ayoola Ajayi had only wanted to know what it felt like to kill someone.
My life has been changed due to the selfish, premeditated decision you made on June 17, 2019. Instead of planning my daughter's graduation studies, I planned her memorial.
Breaks my heart knowing that she died alone in such a scary place. Tragically, she won't be among the graduates next spring.
This feels like a nightmare that I can't wake up from, but unfortunately, it's reality.
Today, he remains in prison, and the Lewicks will never forget the bright daughter they lost. What do you think about this chill?
That was crazy. Cuz was out here straight menace to everything. God darn. Wow. You know what? I had another one of them top 10s though that I thought, yeah, that Tinder thing. Woo wee. That Tinder, that Cuz was out here on BS. Like he was just he sucked. He was a terrible human being, man. That dude was just, I don't know what they was teaching him over there before he came over here. But he could take that back over there. Well, he done now, but Cuz came over here with something else going on. Listen, I got these top 10 killers, right? I wanted to see top 10 teen killers who shocked America. This is a real quick tidbit, you know what I'm saying, on the quick side of the game before we get into the next joint. I just wanted to see what's up with this real quick on some real quickity quick. You know what I'm saying?
Ordinary teenagers. 10 teen killers who shocked America. They looked like ordinary teenagers, but each of them committed crimes so shocking that they made national headlines, changed lives forever, and in some cases, changed the American justice system itself.
Okay.
Today, we're counting down 10 teenage killers whose crimes stunned the nation. Number 10, Eric Smith. In August 1993, 13-year-old Eric Smith lured 4-year-old Derek Roby into a wooded area near Steuben County, New York. The child was later found dead after suffering a brutal attack. Investigators quickly focused on Smith after witnesses reported seeing him with Derek shortly before the disappearance. During the investigation, Smith admitted responsibility. His trial attracted nationwide attention because of his young age and disturbing behavior in court. In 1994, he was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 9 years to life in prison. After spending nearly 3 decades behind bars and being denied parole numerous times, Smith was released in 2022 under strict supervision. His case remains one of America's most infamous examples of violent crime committed by a young teenager. Number 9, Lionel Tate. In 1999, 12-year-old Lionel Tate was babysitting 6-year-old Tiffany Unick in Florida. Tate claimed he had been imitating professional wrestling moves. The child suffered catastrophic injuries and died. Medical experts testified that the injuries were too severe to have been caused by an accident. At age 12, Tate became one of the youngest people in modern American history, sentenced to life in prison without parole. The sentence sparked national debate over whether children should receive adult punishments. His conviction was later overturned, and after legal proceedings, he accepted a plea agreement, serving additional time before his release. However, he would later be convicted of armed robbery and sentenced to 30 years in prison. His case remains a landmark in juvenile justice.
A whole second lease on life and do it again? God.
Discussions. Number 8. Brenda Spencer. On January 29th, 1979, 16-year-old Brenda Spencer opened fire from her home across the street from Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego, California. The attack killed the school's principal and a custodian and wounded several children and a police officer.
Wow.
When asked why she did it, Spencer reportedly replied, "I don't like Mondays." The phrase became infamous and inspired songs, documentaries, and decades of media coverage. She pleaded guilty to murder and assault charges and remains incarcerated. Her crime was one of the earliest, widely publicized school shootings in American history. Number 7. Michael Carneal. In December 1997, 14-year-old Michael Carneal brought firearms to Heath High School in West Paducah, Kentucky. He opened fire on a student prayer group before being subdued by classmates. 3 students were killed and several others were injured. Carneal pleaded guilty but mentally ill to murder and attempted murder charges. The case became part of a growing national conversation about school safety, mental health, and youth violence during the late 1990s. Number 6. Barry Lukatis. Just months before the Heath High School shooting, another tragedy unfolded in Moses Lake, Washington. 14-year-old Barry Lukatis entered Frontier Middle School carrying multiple firearms. He killed a teacher and 2 students before being subdued by a teacher who distracted him long enough for others to intervene. His attack shocked educators across the country and highlighted the growing concern over violence in schools. Lukatis received a lengthy prison sentence, though his sentence was later modified following changes in juvenile sentencing law. Number 5. Kip Kinkle. In May 1998, 15-year-old Kip Kinkle murdered both of his parents at their Oregon home.
Damn.
The following morning, he went to Thurston High School, carrying several firearms. 2 students were killed and more than 20 others were injured before classmates tackled him and ended the attack. The shooting became one of the defining school violence cases of the late 1990s. Kinkle was sentenced to more than 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole under Oregon law. Number 4. Sean Sellers. Sean Sellers was 16 years old when he murdered a convenience store clerk in Oklahoma. He later killed both of his parents. Sellers claimed he had been influenced by occult beliefs, though prosecutors argued he was fully responsible for his actions. He was convicted and sentenced to death. In 1999, Sellers was executed, becoming one of the last people in the United States executed for crimes committed while under the age of 18 before the Supreme Court later prohibited that practice. His case continues to be discussed whenever juvenile capital punishment is examined. Number 3. Mackenzie Shirilla. In July 2022, 17-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla deliberately drove a vehicle at extremely high speed into a commercial building in Strongsville, Ohio. The crash killed her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and another passenger, Davian Flanagan. Prosecutors argued the collision was intentional, while the defense maintained it was a tragic accident. Following a bench trial, Shirilla was convicted of murder in 2023 and sentenced to prison. The case generated enormous online attention due to dashboard data, surveillance footage, and debates surrounding intent. Number 2. Alyssa Bustamante. In October 2009, 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante murdered.
That's a hell of a name, though. If somebody said that name, you would think they was bullshitting. You would think they was playing. Little Bustamante.
9-year-old Elizabeth Olton in rural Missouri. Investigators discovered disturbing journal entries and online activity that became major evidence during the investigation. Bustamante later pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and armed criminal action. She received a lengthy prison sentence. The case remains one of the most widely discussed juvenile murder cases in American history because of the victim's age and the extensive national media coverage. Number 1. The Slender Man stabbing. Although the victim survived, the Slender Man case became one of the most shocking crimes involving young teenagers in modern America. In 2014, 12-year-olds Anissa Weier and Morgan Geyser lured their friend Peyton Leutner into a wooded park in Waukesha, Wisconsin. The victim was stabbed multiple times but survived after crawling to a nearby road, where she was found by a passing cyclist. Investigators learned the girls believed they were acting to please the fictional internet character known as Slender Man. The case sparked worldwide discussion about internet folklore, online influence, mental illness, and juvenile responsibility. Both offenders were committed to mental health institutions rather than traditional prison sentences. Even years later, the case continues to be referenced in documentaries, books, and discussions about children and online culture.
All right. That, you know what? Them kind of got me hooked a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Them little bite-sized little joints, I'm kind of feeling them. I got another one. The top 10 siblings who killed together. Let's go. Hold on.
Bond turn.
Volume.
We're taught that the bond between siblings is unbreakable. But what happens when that bond turns lethal? These are 10 chilling cases where teenage siblings didn't just share a bedroom, they would commit murder together. In 2015, 18-year-old Robert and 16-year-old Michael Bever acted out a meticulous mass murder plot, Bever Family Murders. Armed with body armor and tactical knives, the brothers systematically killed 5 family members in their home. When police intercepted them, fleeing into the woods, they uncovered a digital journal. The brothers were planning a massive cross-country spree, targeting completely random locations. Identical 16-year-old twins, Jasmia and Tasmia Whitehead, maintained a chillingly calm front after their mother, Jarmeka, was found brutally beaten and stabbed in a bathtub. For months, the sisters cried on camera and claimed they just stumbled upon the scene. Twisted twins confessed to killing mother, but forensic teams found physical bite marks on the twins from their mother's desperate self-defense, entirely shattering their shared alibi. Just 12 and 13 years old, Curtis and Catherine Jones became the youngest children in modern American history to be tried as adults for first-degree murder. Trapped in a home plagued by severe, ignored domestic abuse, the brother and sister co-conspired to take a firearm and kill their father's girlfriend. Both served 16 years behind bars before being released. It is one of the most famous cases in American history. While Lyle Menendez was 21, his brother Eric was just an 18-year-old high school graduate when they coordinated a brutal shotgun ambush, killing their wealthy parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. The brothers claimed they acted out of sheer survival following a lifetime of severe systemic abuse, sparking a legal debate that gripped the world. In 1995, a dark, radicalized environment culminated in a horrific family slaughter. Heavily influenced by neo-Nazi skinhead ideology, 17-year-old Brian Freeman and his 16-year-old brother David formed a toxic alliance. Armed with clubs and knives, the teenage brothers launched a coordinated ambush inside their own home, brutally murdering their mother, father, and 11-year-old younger brother. The sibling duo fled the state together before being captured, resulting in both minors receiving life sentences. In August of 1980, an escape to a local nature spot turned deadly for teenage brothers David and Sammy Maldonado, ages 16 and 14. While in the park, a violent confrontation erupted between the brothers and another teenager. Acting in absolute lockstep to attack the victim, David jumped onto the teenager's back and stabbed him twice, while Sammy engaged in the physical struggle. Both teenage brothers were convicted of felony murder under co-conspiracy laws, sparking decades of landmark Supreme Court appeals over juvenile sentencing. In 2003, a horrific act of violence unfolded over a botched drug deal. Enraged after being sold fake methamphetamine that turned out to be salt, 19-year-old Bo Miestas and his 16-year-old sister Monique armed themselves with butcher knives and drove back to the dealer's trailer. Finding only the dealer's young children home, Monique used a cruel ruse, falsely telling the kids their mother was hurt to get them to open the door. The siblings then unleashed a brutal attack, murdering 3-year-old Christiana Cowan and leaving her 10-year-old sister permanently paralyzed. In a case that shocked Ireland, 19-year-old Linda Mulhall and her 21-year-old sister Charlotte acted together during a violent, alcohol-fueled confrontation. The sisters attacked, killed, and completely dismembered their mother's partner, Ferris Wangwahi, before dumping his remains in Dublin's Royal Canal. The media permanently dubbed them the Scissor Sisters. In June of 2000, a financial scam escalated into a cold-blooded execution. After duping 22-year-old Oscar Velasquez into giving them $1,000, 17-year-old Regina and her 16-year-old sister Margaret DeFrancisco realized he wanted his money back. The teenage sisters lured him to their home, leading him down the basement stairs, where they had pre-laid a plastic tarp. Margaret followed behind with a semi-automatic pistol, shooting him in the back of the head. They robbed his body, loaded it into a car trunk, and set it on fire in a vacant lot. In 2001, a shocking act of patricide completely stunned the nation.
What?
Driven by harsh discipline and the toxic manipulation of an outside adult, 13-year-old Derek and 12-year-old Alex King conspired together. The young brothers bludgeoned their sleeping father, Terry King, to death with an aluminum baseball bat before deliberately torching their home to destroy the evidence. They became some of the youngest children in the state ever to face adult first-degree murder charges.
Damn.
We're taught that the bond between siblings is unbreakable.
Hey,
but what happens when that bond...
These right here is top tier. I don't know about y'all, but I done ran up on the nice little quick little dose of the crime, like little quick little hits, like pow, 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 pow. Good crime. I'ma keep that rolling because there was another one. Hold on, let me fix my mouse now. I done dropped my damn mouse. All right, here we go. Yeah, these is top tier right here. Let's swing it on over to the top 10 female mass shooters. Tutors and booters with the mass shooters. You gotta toot it and you gotta toot it.
According to statistics,
mass shoot it on the female side of the game.
Women commit only 5% of all mass shootings. In this video, we are going to look at the 10 worst mass shootings committed by a female. Lori Dan, 30. Dan entered Hubbard Woods Elementary School in Winnetka and opened fire in a second-grade classroom. One 8-year-old boy, Nick Corwin, was killed, and 5 other children were wounded. Dan fled, took a family hostage nearby, wounded 1 person, then died by suicide. Abundant Life Christian School, 15-year-old student Natalie Rupnow opened fire during a study hall. 2 people were killed, teacher Aaron West and 14-year-old student Ruby Vergara, and 6 others were injured. Rupnow died by suicide at the scene, University of Alabama in Huntsville. During a biology department faculty meeting attended by about 12 people, 45-year-old Professor Amy Bishop opened fire after being denied tenure. 3 colleagues were killed and 3 others were wounded. Bishop was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Rite Aid Distribution Center near Aberdeen, 26-year-old temporary employee Snokia Mosley opened fire shortly after arriving for work. 3 employees were killed and 3 others were wounded. Mosley died by suicide at the scene. Springfield Mall, outside Philadelphia, 25-year-old Sylvia Segrist opened fire on shoppers. 3 people were killed, including a 2-year-old boy, and 7 others were wounded before a bystander disarmed her. She was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences. Cedarville Rancheria Tribal Headquarters. Former tribal chairwoman Cherie Lash Rhodes, 44, opened fire during an eviction hearing involving herself and her son. In under 10 minutes, 4 people were killed and 2 others were wounded. A jury sentenced Rhodes to death in 2017. Covenant School, a private Christian elementary school. 28-year-old Audrey Hale, a former student, entered the school and opened fire. 6 people were killed. 3 9-year-old students, Evelyn Deekhouse, Hallie Scruggs, and William Kinney, and 3 adults. Head of school Catherine Kuntz, Cynthia Peak, and custodian Mike Hill.
Damn.
Hale was shot and killed by police. Goleta Postal Facility, 44-year-old former postal employee Jennifer San Marco first shot and killed a former neighbor in Santa Barbara. She then drove to the mail processing plant where she had previously worked, killed 6 postal employees, and died by suicide. 7 victims total. Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. 2 people were killed at a private residence. At the school, 6 students and 1 teacher were killed, and 27 others were injured. Initial reports listed 10 dead, including the shooter, later corrected by RCMP to 9 dead, including the shooter. 8 victims, plus the shooter.
Please, what up?
Police identified the shooter as 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar. Inland Regional Center, the deadliest case involving a female perpetrator. 29-year-old Tashfeen Malik and her husband, Syed Rizwan Farouk, opened fire during a holiday party for County Health Department employees. 14 people were killed and 22 others were injured. Both Malik and Farouk were killed in a shootout with police hours later. It remains the only case in this list carried out by 2 perpetrators.
Sheesh. Females ain't playing no games, boy. So, y'all want to make some bets about who's on the list of the 10 teen killers who got out and killed again? Uh-oh. This one, I just for shits and giggles, I want to see this one. 10 killers who killed, got out, and killed again.
On the night,
this gotta
10 teen killers who got out and killed again. Each person on this list committed murder before turning 20. After years behind bars or inside a psychiatric institution, they were allowed back into society or permitted outside secure custody.
and messed it
Every
up
case
again.
ended with another person losing their life. Here are 10 teen killers who got out and killed again. Number 10, Frank Gilbert Kohler. Frank Gilbert Kohler was only 15 when he killed a 16-year-old boy in New York in 1945. He served 5 years at Elmira Reformatory but soon returned to crime. After another lengthy prison term, Kohler was paroled in 1962. In 1970, he killed restaurant owner Pete McGinn and McGinn's friend, Richie Glennon, following an argument. Kohler escaped and remained a fugitive for 27 years before finally being arrested. Number 9, Walter Hill. Walter Hill committed his first murder in Alabama in 1952 when he was 17. He was convicted of second-degree murder and released in 1961. Hill later returned to prison for other violent crimes, but was paroled again in 1975. Less than 2 years later, he murdered Willie Mae Hammock, Lois Tatum, and John Tatum Jr. Hill was convicted of capital murder and eventually executed in 1997. Number 8, Patrick Tissier. Patrick Tissier was 18 when he murdered his teenage girlfriend in France in 1971. He received a 20-year sentence but committed further violent offenses during a temporary release. After serving another sentence, Tissier was released in January 1992. In 1993, he murdered his neighbor Conchetta Lemma and 8-year-old Karina Volkert. He was later sentenced to life imprisonment. Number 7, Richard Biegenwald. Richard Biegenwald was 17 when he killed grocery store owner Steven Sladowski during a 1958 robbery in New Jersey. Despite receiving a life sentence, Biegenwald was paroled in 1975. During the early 1980s, he committed a new series of murders along the Jersey Shore.
Murder!
He was ultimately convicted of 6 killings and died in prison in 2008. Number 6, Donald Dilbeck. Donald Dilbeck was 15 when he killed Florida Sheriff's Deputy Dwight Lynn Hall in 1979. While serving a life sentence, Dilbeck was assigned to an off-site work program. In June 1990, he walked away from the assignment. 2 days later, he killed Faye Van during an attempted carjacking. Dilbeck was recaptured, sentenced to death, and executed by Florida in 2023.
Damn, they got his ass right up out of here. That's 2 of them they got up out of here. They had to get him and Willie ass right on up out of here.
Number 5, John Rodney McRae. John Rodney McRae was 15 when he was convicted of murdering 8-year-old Joseph Housey in Michigan. After 21 years in prison, his sentence was commuted, and he was paroled in February 1972. In 1987, 15-year-old Randy Lawford disappeared after visiting McRae's property. Lawford's remains were later found nearby, and McRae was convicted of his murder. Number 4.
Now, let me ask y'all a question real quick, because I'm seeing a pattern here, and what I'm saying is is like once you get that itch, for kill, for murder, it's like you gotta do it again. Is that? I mean, I wonder what the recidivism rate of murderers is like. If, because then look, you gotta go through. Man, these folks is going through 21 plus years. It's funny how you get a life sentence, but still somehow get out. That's crazy in itself. But it's like once you get that itch for that itch, you're gonna have to get that itch again. Let me see what this little scumbag did. Anthony Kirkland.
Anthony Kirkland. Anthony Kirkland was 18 when he killed his girlfriend, Leola Douglas, in Cincinnati in 1987. He pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter, served approximately 16 years, and was released in 2004. Between 2006 and 2009, Kirkland murdered 4 more victims.
God damn.
Cassandra Crawford, Mary Jo Newton, Kimya Rollison, and Esme Kenny. He received death sentences for 2 of the murders. Number 3, Peter Woodcock. Peter Woodcock murdered 3 children in Toronto while he was still a teenager during the 1950s. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity and confined to psychiatric institutions for more than 3 decades. In 1991, Woodcock was permitted his first unsupervised outing. During that outing, he killed fellow patient Dennis Kerr and was returned to maximum security custody. Number 2.
This nigga. So they ain't telling me this nigga, he got off on the insanity, spent 30 years in the cuckoo bird. They let him out on his first little, let's see what you do out. The dude he was in there with killed him. Damn. These is crucial. This is like it's some hellified people out here in this world, fam.
Reginald McFadden. Reginald McFadden was 16 when he participated in the 1969 robbery and murder of Sonia Rosenbaum in Philadelphia. His life sentence was eventually commuted, and he was released on July 7, 1994. Only 92 days later, McFadden was arrested after a series of violent crimes in New York. He was convicted of murdering Robert Silk and Margaret Kiernan and received a sentence of nearly 90 years to life. For 1. Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper was 15 when he
They got Edmund on here.
murdered his grandparents in California in 1964. He was committed to a psychiatric hospital, but was released on parole when he was 21 after doctors concluded that he no longer presented a serious danger.
Yeah, right.
Between 1972 and 1973, Kemper murdered 8 more people around
God, I forgot about that. He whacked 8 more people.
Santa Cruz. He eventually surrendered to police and received 8 life sentences.
You can't even do 8 life sentences. You can only just do 1. That is so unfair when people kill all them people. Like you know, ain't that a conundrum though? Ain't that a conundrum? You know, unfortunately, 8 people, died, and I'm sure that all the families are looking for justice. Do you think all the families feel like they get justice if he killed more than 1 people? Does that take away, from the justice felt to a single individual family if there's 8 families that have to share in that execution, so to speak? I mean, there's scenarios and stuff that I could never even imagine or think about. This crazy, but I'm just saying, like, do each one of the families feel like they got justice from said, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I feel good, man. I'm old, man. I had to take me one of my blood pressure pills, man. I be trying to work out and all that, but you know what it was? I ate me some hot Cheetos and all that, man, with that extra sodium, man. I can't be eating these little young folks, little chips and dips, man. It made my blood pressure go up. But yeah, Took me a little pill, man, and got me something to eat. So I'm straight. I appreciate you looking out. But I'm just saying, man, like, you know, the 8 families have to split the execution up 8 ways. Like, you know? Yeah, we getting old, bro. We getting old, fam. My blood pressure going up there, boy. Getting a little too hot in the collar now. Had to slow down now. Elevate my feet and lay back now. For real. Shit, I be trying to work out and do my calisthenics and shit, so I don't have to take pills all the time. But I ate some hot, flaming hot Doritos and some Cheetos, and I already know what it was. I already know. Hey, these little bite-sized joints is what it is. I don't know if y'all hooked, but I'm kind of almost hooked. So I'm gonna do one more. Let me see where we at on the time. Yeah, okay, I got one more. I got one more of these because these right here, these little quick little fire little crimes is giving me the little rush I need. It's giving me the quick little crime rush I need. So now we got 10 female teens who murdered their parents.
Next door, however, don't judge off their appearance, as these 10 teenage girls would murder a parent. Gypsy Rose Blanchard pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in 2016 for convincing her boyfriend to fatally stab her mother, Claudine D.D. Blanchard, in Missouri after enduring years of forced medical abuse from Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Aaron Keffe masterminded the brutal 2008 home invasion and shooting deaths of her mother and 2 younger brothers in Texas when she was 16 years old. She was convicted on multiple counts of capital murder. Harley Madison Gregg. At age 14, she shot and killed her mother in Mississippi in 2024. A jury rejected her insanity defense, and she was sentenced to life in prison. Isabella Guzman. Stabbing her mother 79 times in their Colorado home in 2013 at age 18, she was legally adjudicated through a conviction of not guilty by reason of insanity and committed indefinitely to a state psychiatric hospital. Rachel Hudson. At age 19, she shot her terminally ill mother to death in Virginia in 2013 before texting a photo of the body to her father. She was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Heather Mack. At age 18, she conspired with her boyfriend to murder her wealthy mother, Sheila von Visa Mack, during a 2014 vacation in Bali, Indonesia, stuffing the body into a suitcase to access a $1.5 million.
Damn, she was cute too. You be trying to mac on old girl, and she done killed her whole mother. You be in for a rude awakening, boy. What look good for you ain't always good for you, boy.
Her trust fund. Sarah Johnson shot and killed both of her parents with a rifle in Idaho in 2003 at age 16 after an argument over her older boyfriend. She was found guilty of first-degree murder. Cole Kacinskas. At age 16, she and her boyfriend plotted and executed the 2003 murder of her mother, Jean Domenico, in New Hampshire, after her mother opposed their relationship. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. Sydney Powell beat and stabbed her mother to death in Ohio in 2020 at age 19, after her mother discovered she had been suspended from college. She was convicted and sentenced to 15 years to life. Sierra Halseth. In May 2022, the 16-year-old Las Vegas teen pleaded guilty to 9 counts, including murder with a deadly weapon and first-degree arson for her role in the 2021 slaying of her father, Daniel Halseth. Sierra and her 18-year-old boyfriend stabbed her father to death, dismantled his body, and set his home on fire to cover up the crime after their parents tried to stop them from seeing each other. She was sentenced to 22 years to life in prison. They may look like...
Damn, that was kind of deep. That was kind of deep. They really got down on their parents, man. You can't forget the girls be out here getting it in too. Man. It's real out here in the field, man. Well, I had seen one about the truckers. Because I always thought like the truckers be the serial killers and all of that, man. The truckers be out here on the low, going around the state to state. I thought this one was actually just kind of creepy in itself, though, because, you know what I'm saying, what better job could you get to move around all the time than a trucker? Especially if you're good at what you do. Let's go.
But for some, it represents the ultimate hunting ground. In 2009, the FBI launched the Highway Serial Killings Initiative after noticing a terrifying pattern. Hundreds of bodies dumped along America's interstate corridors. Today, we count down 10 truck drivers who were actually serial killers. For one, Keith Jesperson. Operating in the early 1990s, this long-haul trucker murdered at least 8 women. He taunted police by writing confessions on truck stop bathroom walls, signing each one with a chilling smiley face. Number 2, Robert Ben Rhodes. Rhodes converted the sleeper berth of his semi-truck into a literal mobile torture chamber. Convicted of 3 murders but suspected in over 50, he hunted hitchhikers and stranded motorists for over 15 years.
Damn. Now that one right, you got to be, he didn't converted his truck to a rolling torture chamber? You gotta be careful out there, man. And then, you know who was hitchhiking? You know what I'm saying? Men, women. I mean, let's be honest. You don't see too many black hitchhikers. I don't think hitchhike is something that black people even actually do. And if you do, you're dumb. If you hitchhike as a black person, you're just asking to be murdered. In my opinion. This one's crazy though. This one you can't really just this is crazy.
He hunted hitchhikers and stranded motorists for over 15 years. Number 3, William Bonin. Bonin used his local commercial driving jobs to terrorize Southern California.
Damn.
He utilized the sprawling freeway network to transport and dump his victims, leading to 14 convictions before his 1996 execution.
14?
Number 4, Bruce Mendenhall. Arrested at a Nashville truck stop in 2007, Mendenhall's run ended when an observant detective spotted blood inside his cab. He was convicted of 3 murders, but police suspect him in several multi-state highway cold cases. Number 5, Adam Leroy Lane. Lane didn't hunt at truck stops. Instead, he parked his massive rig near quiet suburbs, directly off highway exits. Armed with knives, he entered homes to attack victims while they slept before a victim's father subdued him in 2007. Number 6, Delmas Colvin. Operating through the 80s and 90s, this Ohio trucker exploited the transient nature of truck stop corridors. Convicted of 5 murders, Colvin later confessed from prison to killing over 50 women, frequently hiding them in remote trucking yards. Number 7.
Dang. Killing the lot lizards. Dang, bro. You ain't supposed to kill the lot lizards. God.
Peter Sutcliffe. This British killer proved the trend was global. Sutcliffe murdered 13 women in the late 1970s while working as a lorry driver, using his official mandatory company delivery logs to provide flawless alibis to investigators. Number 8, Wayne Adam Ford. In 1998, this long-haul driver walked directly into a sheriff's station to confess. Overwhelmed.
Now, he looked like he get out like that. He looked exactly like he gets all the way down exactly like that.
By guilt, Ford had a piece of physical evidence from his final victim right in his pocket. He was convicted of 4 murders. Number 9, Robert Rembert Jr. Rembert utilized both a past career as a regional bus driver and a long-haul truck driving gig in Ohio to mask his movements. His constant geographic shifts allowed him to hide 4 execution-style killings stretching across decades. Number 10. John Robert Williams.
Now look at them eyes. That boy looked like Pringle. I appreciate you, Pringle, in here to drop the trophy on me. We up here working, man. I'm hooked on these right now, Pringle. Pringle, this it right here. These little tins. I'm just keep finding these tins.
Williams operated a cross-country route, attacking transient women, while convicted for the definitive forensic cases of 2 victims. His massive confession of over 12 slayings completely overwhelmed regional law enforcement tracking. Open road
Man. So listen. Y'all, let's look at the scumbag police officers. The top 10 police officers sentenced to prison. Let's go.
They are supposed to serve and protect. However, these 10 police officers would shatter the thin blue line and end up behind bars. Derek Chauvin, a former Minneapolis police officer, whose actions during the arrest of George Floyd in May 2020 sparked global protests. Chauvin was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 22.5 years in state prison, running concurrently with a 21-year federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights. In Baltimore, Sergeant Wayne Jenkins led the elite gun trace task force. But instead of getting illegal guns off the streets, Jenkins operated like a mob boss in uniform. He led a crew that robbed drug dealers, planted evidence, and committed massive fraud. In 2018,
he looked like a little police gang boss, though. Like, if we had to get the description of a police gang boss, don't he look like that already? Like, he fit the description of exactly what they talking about. Police gang boss. He looks like his name is Brent McGrath. Brent McGrath
was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. In 2021, London Metropolitan Police Officer Wayne Couzens committed a crime that horrified the United Kingdom.
What you do, Wayne?
He used his official police badge and the pretext of a COVID-19 violation to stage a false arrest of 33-year-old Sarah Everard. He kidnapped S.A. and murdered her, earning a rare, whole-life prison term with no chance of parole. Drew Peterson was a charismatic police sergeant in Bolingbrook, Illinois, who used his law enforcement training to deflect suspicion for years. In 2013, he was finally convicted of murdering his third wife, Kathleen Savio. 3 years later, an additional 40 years were tacked onto his 38-year sentence after he tried to hire a hitman to kill the prosecutor. Known as the infamous Mafia Cops, NYPD detectives Stephen Caracappa and Louis Eppolito lived a double life in the 80s and 90s. While wearing gold shields, they were on a $70,000 monthly retainer for the Lucchese crime family, passing police intelligence and executing 8 contract murders for the mob. Both received life sentences. Michael Dowd is widely considered one of the most corrupt officers in New York history. Operating out of a high-crime precinct in Brooklyn, Dowd didn't just look the other way. He ran a criminal enterprise. He protected drug lords, stole vast amounts of cocaine, and actively trafficked narcotics. He served 12 years of a 14-year sentence. In June 2024, former Briarcliff Manor officer Nicholas Tartaglione received 4 consecutive life sentences without parole. Tartaglione had orchestrated the brutal execution-style quadruple murder of 4 men over a suspected drug money dispute in 2016, burying their bodies on his ranch. David Mack was a central figure in the LAPD's explosive Rampart scandal of the late 90s. In 1997, the officer masterminded a bank robbery, stealing over $722,000 from a Bank of America.
Damn.
Mack, who had deep ties to the Blood Street Gang, served over 14 years in federal prison. Chicago Police Commander John Burge led a brutal systemic torture ring between 1972 and 1991. He and his detectives used electric shock devices and mock executions to force false confessions from over 100 black suspects. Though the statute of limitations on torture had expired, he was sentenced to federal prison in 2010 for perjury. Perhaps the most terrifying figure on this list is Gerard John Schaefer. In the early 1970s, he used his position as a Florida sheriff's deputy to pull over, kidnap, and murder young women.
Damn.
While convicted of 2 murders and sentenced to life, investigators tied him to up to 30 disappearances.
Damn.
His story ended when he was killed by a fellow inmate.
30? The dirty 30? Sheesh. God. Damn, the police officers was out here all out. Wow. So we did the truckers. They was mostly males, right? What about the female serial killers, though? Huh? Because females is killers, too.
Known as the Blood Countess, Hungarian noblewoman Elizabeth Bathory was accused of torturing and killing dozens of young servant girls at her castle. Local legend later claimed she bathed in her victims' blood to preserve her youth. Historians debate how much of that is myth versus manipulation by her political rivals. What's undisputed? She was placed under house arrest for the rest of her life after an investigation into the deaths. Marianne Cotton is believed to have poisoned as many as 21 people, including 3 husbands, a lover, and most of her own children, using arsenic, likely for insurance payouts. She was finally caught when a surviving stepson's death raised suspicion. She was hanged in 1873, becoming one of Britain's first documented serial killers. A trained nurse, Amelia Dyer, ran a baby farming scheme, taking payment to care for unwanted infants, then killing them. She's suspected of murdering as many as 400 babies over 2 decades. She was caught after a baby's body, wrapped in paper bearing her address, was pulled from the Thames. Belle Gunness lured suitors to her Indiana farm through Lonely Hearts newspaper ads, then killed them for their money,
Crazy as
along with 2 husbands and several of her own children. Investigators eventually found the remains of over a dozen victims buried on her property. Gunness herself vanished after a suspicious fire and was never definitively found again. Nicknamed the Giggling Granny for her cheerful demeanor during confession, Nanny Doss poisoned 4 husbands, her mother, sisters, a grandson, and a nephew with arsenic, around 11 victims in total.
Damn!
She later said she was searching for the perfect romance novel love story and kept eliminating husbands who fell short. Dorothea Puente ran a boarding house in Sacramento for elderly and disabled tenants, cashing their government checks even after killing them. Police discovered multiple bodies buried in her yard in 1988. She was convicted of 3 murders, though she was suspected in several more. Aileen Wuornos killed 7 men along Florida highways in the late 1980s and early 90s, shooting them and taking their cars and belongings. Her case became infamous. She claimed self-defense, framing the killings as retaliation against clients who assaulted her. She was executed in 2002, and her story later inspired the film Monster. A pediatric nurse, Janine Jones, is believed to have injected dozens of infants and children in her care with lethal drugs, possibly to create medical emergencies she could then heroically respond to. Estimates of her victim count range from a dozen to over 60. She remains in prison today. Judy Buenoano.
That one's scary. The old nice little lady at the hospital. Come on. We already know the one lady which that's just got off for breaking the little kid's bones. God, man, this was that one's a crazy one right here. You think you in the hospital chilling, you done messed around and got a fentanyl shot. And then she coming with the Narcan like she'd have saved you. Now you hooked on fent now. Dang.
Count range from a dozen to over 60. She remains in prison today. Judy Buenoano poisoned her husband and drowned her disabled son for insurance money.
Dang.
And was linked to the death of a fiancé in a car bombing. Nicknamed the Black Widow, she was executed in Florida's Electric
Not the son. You did the son, shorty. God, that's rough right there.
And was linked to the death of a fiancé in a car bombing. Nicknamed the Black Widow, she was executed in Florida's electric chair in 1998. Known as La Mataviejitas, the little old lady killer, former wrestler Juana Barraza is believed to have strangled dozens of elderly women in Mexico City, gaining entry by posing as a social worker or nurse. She was convicted in 2008 and sentenced to over 700 years in prison.
Wait a minute. You posing as the social worker or the nurse to come to help the little ladies, and you done choked them out? Damn. Well, sleep tight, kitties. We'll be doing some more crime tomorrow. I don't want to stop. I'm actually on a roll, but I gotta get some sleep because I want to get up and I want to do some videos early in the daytime. If you like DJ, you'll never sleep. You'll never stream early. Stream early sometime. So I want to stream early tomorrow. That doesn't mean we're not gonna do some crime, because we're gonna do some crime. But I want to get together, a little earlier tomorrow. Okay, guys? But I appreciate everybody stopping through. Make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, okay? And since all y'all here real quick, check this out. When you come back next time, we got 2 streams running on every channel, right? So you see the little stuff above me and then the chat below me, that's the portrait. We also got the landscape one where you can see it real big and you can see all the people in the chat across all the chats real big. If you're looking at it on a TV or, you want to be interactive, you come on in on the live stream on the landscape. The landscape helps the channel the most because they don't be doing nothing with that. I meet most of y'all on the portrait, so that's why I run it. So I appreciate y'all coming through on the portrait side of the game. But if you want to support the channel, the landscape side of the game. Thank you for everybody that dropped some jewels on me tonight. I appreciate that always. Shout out to my mods for making sure that we have a comfortable environment, greeting everybody new that come in and making sure that everybody's comfortable. I would say we had a great stream tonight. We didn't have nobody in the comment section talking stupid. It was a great vibe tonight. Hope to see we do this again. I don't want to hold you. Oh, you know what? I got some crime t-shirts, y'all. I'm finna y'all want to see what the crime t-shirts look like? I got some crime t-shirts. I was like, man, let me make some late night for the people crime t-shirts. I ain't put them up yet or made them official yet because I wanted to see how y'all do it. I'm sick of kind of making t-shirts that don't nobody like. So I want to make sure y'all at least like them, right? Let me see the t-shirts. Let me just do a little whoop-de-woo real quick in the background. Let me see what the t-shirt. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna flash it up on the screen on the real quick side of the game, and then y'all let me know. This is what I came up with. I came up with these joints right here. Okay, the crime joints. Hold on, let me show you. I said one says, "Stay alive, don't get murdered." I think that's real silly, and I like it. Stay alive, don't get murdered. And then hold on, let me blow them up. The other one says, case file open, subject redacted, detective, fan name. You know what I'm saying? And then this one says, official couch, true crime fan since day one. You know what I'm saying? These just some ideas that I was mowing around, you know what I'm saying? Little something, you know what I'm saying? Let me push them, let me see it. Push them up and make them a little bigger for y'all. Let me see if that is that big as I can get them on the big side of the game. Yeah, that's about as big as I can get it for y'all to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and produce those. And okay, all right, Pringle. Listen, I'm gonna produce those tonight. They should probably be up by tomorrow. They'll probably be attached to the J Lava channel. I might just drop it in both stores because every channel got their own store. But I ain't started the J Lava store yet. But Keep It P got a store. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna put it in all stores. That yeah, I thought the Stay Alive. I thought those are kind of. I thought they're kind of cool too. You know, I'm gonna actually produce them so they'll get bigger, so you'll see exactly what they are. But that's just something I was mowing around with, guys. You know what I'm saying? For my late night, you know what I'm saying, crew, on the crew side of the game. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, I ain't gonna hold you, but I'm a moja, foja, and scold you. And you know I got 4 words for you. I need you to go ahead and subscribe for the vibes, like for the spike in the algorithm, comment your vomit, and share if you care about getting crime everywhere, right? Please do that on the platforms that we are on, Jones. And just to bring it all the way home, I got love, peace, blessings, and aloha out the Doha for Shoha. You already know.